What is going on, everybody? It is episode 837 of Pop Culture Crisis. We are right on time today because I was making sure that YouTube wouldn't give us any crap because it is apparently 3-year anniversary of being live here on YouTube. My name is Brett and I'm here with my co-host. Introduce yourself, please.
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary, and hello to anyone who may have subscribed last night when I told you to on IRL. We actually didn't know that it was the 3-year anniversary of live episodes because we,
It's all running together to
we're
me.
bad people. I don't know. That was news to me. But yes, it was May 16th, 2022 that we did our first live episode. Don't watch it. Only watch our new episodes.
Yes.
I don't want you to go back and see the cringe.
We're so polished these days.
Yeah, we've become veritable professionals in our field.
I mean, except for the fact that I've been having a problem with YouTube all week, and we were like a minute late.
That's YouTube's fault. That's
it was definitely
not our
YouTube's fault. So guys, yesterday and all week, Rumble would load fine, but then YouTube would make me refresh, duplicate the stream, and then we'd end up being a minute late. So today I'm like, nope. There will be no problems.
Satan.
Not today, Satan. I said we're gonna be early, or we're gonna be on time, and then of course it worked first try, so we were like 3 minutes early.
We have 3 $20 super chats to get through before we start. From Badump Scooter Bash, just wanted to say thank you.
Wait, is Badump Scooter Bash related to Scooter Braun? Like instead of sharing last names, they share a weird first name?
I hope so. I don't know what we did, but you're welcome. High Voltage 75 said, thank you, Brett and Mary, for 3 years of live PCC and for all you do to keep us laughing, crying, puking, cringing, etc. while we navigate through the sludge and slop that is modern pop culture.
Exactly.
That means so much to me. I appreciate that, and thank you for being here for that long. Weary Traveler said on time and then gave us a little bouquet.
So what's all this XP in the chat?
Yeah, so this is a new thing. We didn't know about it either. YouTube is giving some of you crowns and rankings in this leaderboard in the chat.
Okay.
So you can earn XP and get on the community leaderboard by participating in the live chat and sending super chats.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
Yep.
I guess this is going to become a fierce competition.
I mean, don't do it for XP. Do it because you love the show.
Yeah, do it just for the love of the game.
Yeah. So, guys, we have a bunch of stuff to get into today, but of course, hit the like button on this episode and subscribe to the channel if you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. Again, if you are here from last night when Mary was on IRL, you decided to tune in and check us out live, you should not leave this live stream without subscribing to the channel and hitting the itty bitty like button there as well. Don't smash it, just gently tap it.
We also got a bump on Rumble last night.
Yep.
A couple hundred new people followed our Rumble account.
So let's hope this continues to grow. So thank you guys so much for that. So what are we getting into today? Well, we got a lot to talk about. One of my favorite niche corners of the internet are pro Taylor Swift right-wing accounts that then get commented on by people who don't like Taylor Swift. And that is back in the news today because Donald Trump has decided to once again return to Truth Social, where nobody actually sees anything he posts. It just gets reposted to X. And he was saying that did you ever notice that after I said Taylor Swift wasn't hot anymore, she hasn't been hot anymore, people fiercely backed Taylor Swift. Alex Clark did. Phil got in on the discussion. Some other people did. And
Phil's a Swiftie.
He's a Swiftie.
A lot of people don't know that.
We are gonna talk about Donald Trump poking the bear today. The Swifties are a bear, if anything. So we're gonna talk about it. We're also gonna talk about how Lorde is cringe, not Lord without the E, Lord with the E.
Yes.
Lorde.
She is known for her one-hit wonder Royals and really her debut album, which was impeccable. But
which is sad because the songs Tennis Court and Team were far better than
she had
Royals.
lots of great songs on that album, but she's taken a downfall in recent years, and she is promoting her new album, Virgin. It has been a wild ride for her. She's talking about her gender identity. She's talking about going off birth control, watching Pamela Anderson's sex tape.
Yeah,
it's
she
really
said it's romantic.
creepy.
She said that the sex tape that was eventually stolen, leaked online, and forced into a lawsuit was just one of the most romantic things she's ever seen, on top of saying very profound statements like, I'm a woman, except for the days where I feel like a man or something like that. So
Yeah.
we're gonna talk about it. We are also gonna talk about a new set of turbo cringe, a new turbo cringe here. The Weeknd is going to continue to not do what he's good at, which is make music, and attempt to act. You remember The Idol? That didn't exactly go over well. Now he's got a new movie coming out called Hurry Up Tomorrow with Jenna Ortega, and even Jenna Ortega can't save this one from being roasted on the internet. So we're going to look over some of the comments. There's literally one clip. If you think one clip isn't enough, it's enough. We're going to talk about it. We got that. We got a whole bunch of other stuff. We're so glad you're with us today. If you're ready, Mara, we can get started. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Well, I guess we got something serious to start the show. Let's go.
Right. It's interesting because just yesterday we were talking about Justin Bieber's money troubles, him allegedly being so broke that he had to sell his entire music catalog back in 2022 to recoup his funds. But there is an update because Justin Bieber has released an official statement regarding the speculation about his creepy adult-child friendship with Diddy over the years. Because, if you didn't know already, Diddy is currently on trial, and a lot of people have speculated and theorized that Justin Bieber is one of Diddy's victims. However, Justin Bieber has never come out and said that, and he possibly has hinted at being abused by people in the music industry, but never explicitly named anyone, including Diddy.
I feel like just from the 30,000 foot view, I am not following the trial super closely, and maybe it's just my own bias from the accounts that I follow, but I don't feel like Cassie is coming out of this looking that good, nor do I feel like the U.S. government is coming out of this looking all that good, as most of it just looks like typical Hollywood degeneracy and not a whole lot of evil sex trafficking. But I could be wrong. I'm just giving you my kind of armchair, 30,000 foot view. I'm not paying super close attention, but none of the headlines are doing a whole lot to sway people to the idea that he's as evil as people are saying he is. Even if he is.
Interesting because all of the charges against Diddy and all of these accusations that came forward kind of exploded into this giant mess where it's impossible to go through it all and ascertain the facts. So if you look at it from the pop culture view, what the narrative is around Diddy, people genuinely believe Diddy is on trial for like abusing Justin Bieber right now. Like they genuinely have no idea, which is why Justin Bieber felt the need to clarify to his own audience that he is not one of Diddy's victims. This was a statement that his team gave to People magazine, saying, although Justin is not among Sean Combs' victims, there are individuals who were genuinely harmed by him. Shifting focus away from this reality detracts from the justice these victims rightfully deserve. And that's the beginning and the end of it. So a lot of people don't know what to make of this because last year there was an anonymous inside source from Justin's life who told publications at the time that he was opening up to his friend group about what happened to him with Diddy. They said at the time he was reacting to his own personal circumstance. The last thing Justin wants to do is relive or even discuss his complicated friendship with Diddy, but he's finally breaking his silence to his friends about his nightmare experience and the private hell that it's caused him. There was no validation that this inside source actually knows Justin or is in his inner circle. That was a rumor that started circulating last year. And at the same time, there were a couple of clips of Justin Bieber as a minor with Diddy on camera, and their interactions added more fuel to the fire because you can tell that Justin is uncomfortable or that he shouldn't have been allowed to hang out with Diddy one-on-one.
I will, before we get into that, like, what I realized when I read this was, like, it's not going to matter. People are just going to interpret it whatever way they want anyway. They say, well, he can't speak out about it. It's too traumatizing. Like, no, this wasn't going to actually sway anybody who's dead set in their belief one way or the other, whatever way that is not going to be moved in any way by what he says here because most people have dug their heels in, and they're going to, the side that agrees with him is going to be like, see, there's the proof. I always knew it. The other side is going to say, well, it's because he was traumatized and he just doesn't want to talk about it.
Or that he's being threatened, or there is some conflict behind the scenes where he's being pressured into silence and he's being pressured to issue a denial. If you want to believe that Justin is one of Diddy's victims, you're going to continue believing that. I don't know if I have a stance one way or the other, but I know for a fact that what occurred in these two clips
is weird as hell.
Weird as hell.
Weird
and
as
shouldn't
hell.
have happened.
Yeah.
So this was the first one where you see 14-year-old Justin Bieber with Diddy back at the time when Usher was Justin's mentor. Diddy also mentored Usher, so it was like kind of a succession line that people saw happening. And in this clip, Diddy says that they're about to spend 48 hours together getting up to undisclosed activities.
Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like, you know, where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose.
Most celebrities are bad without a script. Ever notice that? Like, most of them don't off the cuff well.
Yeah.
Let's continue.
But it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream.
What does that mean?
You know, I have been given custody of him. You know, he signed to Usher.
I'm signed to Usher.
I had legal guardianship of Usher when you know he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So and we gonna go full crazy.
We're going crazy.
Justin.
Yeah,
I guess
so there's Justin just uncomfortably laughing, but he probably did feel like he was living his dream by, you know, hanging out with these huge stars that he idolized.
even at that time, I'm like, did any Gen Z or millennial youth like I'm an older millennial. Did anybody his age actually ever dream of hanging out with Diddy?
Well, I
don't know.
Justin has always been like super into music, and he definitely was a huge fan of Usher. That's why he wanted to be mentored and signed by Usher. So I assume that he would feel the same way about Diddy at the time.
I imagine his hat collection cost a lot to replace when he like cut his hair.
Thank you.
Thank you. They were all too big after that. Hopefully,
This is our normal
tonal issues. That's okay. It's okay. It's okay, guys.
Justin Bieber is an expert at dancing through the pain. So this is a second clip where Justin is slightly older but still a minor, and Diddy is asking him why they don't hang out anymore, and Justin sounds very uncomfortable.
Good, selling out arenas and everything. Starting to act different, huh? You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
Well, I mean, you try to get in contact with me, you know, through all my, partners and whatnot. But you never really got my number, so.
Correct. Okay.
My number?
Yeah. Everything's.
Diddy is kind of accusing Justin of getting a big ego and not reaching out enough.
If they were the same age, I would interpret that as someone just being like kind of like joking around and the other person not getting the joke, but they're not the same age, which changes the context.
Obviously, yeah. I don't think it's normal for a grown adult person to consider themselves friends with a child unless it's like your cousin.
Drake, don't be texting Millie Bobby Brown when she's 13.
No, I'm sorry. That's just not ever acceptable for a grown-ass adult to be friends with a child. That you're not friends. You're probably using that person for clout or something else. There's some ulterior motive going on. And everyone can tell that, he shouldn't have been in those situations. His mom should have protected him more from those types of situations, especially knowing that Usher has talked about his time under guardianship with Diddy. He said that he witnessed actual orgies, like sexual situations, while he was a child when he was living with Diddy as a teenager. So that, just knowing that, I wouldn't rule it out as a possibility for what happened between Justin and Diddy. But if we're to believe Justin's actual words, that none of that ever happened.
Yeah.
He's not a victim. So
Doesn't, I mean, even if nothing happened between them, it doesn't mean he didn't see weird shit while he was there, right?
definitely.
Like, and the creepier part is like they actually make it weirder when somebody, like a hazing ritual, like, oh, somebody that's not normally here, we're gonna break him in by making it weird as fuck in the most ungood, like bad way, right?
Right. Yeah. So now there is a new scoop from TMZ's documentary, What Happened to Justin Bieber, where they're saying his former friends are worried Justin is in a cult and that he is hypnotized under the influence of this Los Angeles pastor, Judah Smith, who officiated his wedding with Hailey Bieber years ago. This guy definitely does raise red flags to me. He just seems like a weirdo.
Oh, I didn't realize that this guy officiated their wedding. I mean, I read all about this guy, and I for some reason I thought he came into his life later than that, but I guess they didn't get married that long ago, so.
TMZ says Justin is shrinking his circle, and some people who have been cut out say he's being isolated from his longtime friends because he's in a cult and his church pastor is wielding a ton of influence over his life. But the pastor, Judah Smith, says that's bogus. Justin is no longer friends with Ryan Good, the best man at his wedding, and the creative director of his fashion brand, Drew House. And sources say it has to do with Ryan Good leaving Justin's church, which is called Church Home. That is Judah Smith's church.
We were told that they confronted Scooter Braun, who is Jewish, about not believing in Jesus, and were badgering Ryan about his sex life.
Right. So Ryan Good left Church Home when he believed it was veering in a cult-like direction. Judah Smith, however, said, "What kind of a cult only meets once a month?" That's not really a great retort. Some comments
if anything, somebody might say that your blasé attitude about the accusation is a little bit suspect. But at the same time, also, if it's not true, you're not going to dignify it with a serious response. So,
I suppose.
yeah.
Some comments from Justin's business manager and fellow Church Home member also raised red flags. We get into it in the documentary exploring Justin's mental health, marriage, money troubles, and career. Definitely agree, without knowing all of the details, that Judah Smith seems like a weirdo and he just looks untrustworthy. That's completely my prejudiced opinion of this guy.
Is it the leather jacket?
It's the glasses and, I do mistrust. Hey. It's the specific,
what's up with that?
It's his specific look.
Fine.
Okay? Like, obviously mega church pastors are stereotypically untrustworthy and self-interested people, and I think that especially if you are a pastor of a Hollywood megachurch where there are people of massive influence and wealth in your congregation, you are especially incentivized to be in a controlling role in their lives. There are plenty of examples of celebrities who have their own personal spiritual advisors or gurus that have a malevolent influence over them. Michael Jackson is another example of that. I believe it was Rabbi Shmuley, actually, who was his spiritual advisor for a while. And you can call yourself that, but I think that they overstep bounds and entwine themselves in a celebrity's life so that they can benefit from their wealth and their influence as a result, not to actually help them, in a personal way that you would expect from a pastor or a priest,
Yeah, it actually, the idea that a pastor, like, you would have to be an extremely good and selfless person to help somebody of such immense fame and power without like being pulled into the idea of getting something for yourself.
Right.
Like that requires a very specific type of person who truly is giving and not somebody who, like, even if they don't do it consciously, end up trying to get something out of it without realizing it. And that's giving the most charitable definition of that, not even, taking into account the type of person that's just self-serving and wants to do that.
Yeah, so I'm planning on looking further into Judah Smith and his personal history and the other celebrities that he is wielding influence over, allegedly, because he definitely seems like someone who is not to be trusted in
I mean,
Justin's life.
I
of many.
remember the old interviews with Ryan Good talking about how it was one of the challenges was like that it was just like growing up. Justin was just in rooms with adults all the time, and that it was a hard road because for him it was like he's a kid, and that wasn't framed in a negative way. It was more framed in like there's this big machine around him making everything work. But it's like, even when you phrase it that way, it could be taken in nefarious terms depending on who's looking at it.
Well, the problem that results is that while he's a kid in this really unique situation surrounded by adults constantly, he's given all the freedoms of an adult with none of the responsibilities and none of the actual control, of course, because he just doesn't have a legal emancipation, right? So then he's treated like an adult as a kid, and then as an adult he's treated like a kid.
Yeah.
So he probably feels like he's trapped in this never-ending cycle of trying to free himself from a circle of people that is constantly, like, has this high turnover rate, and he's trying to cut out people who seem toxic or don't understand him.
Yeah.
Or trying to control him, but
Given
it's
how
almost
successful-
impossible to achieve.
Like, again, given that I have not investigated like TMZ has, but given how successful he was for so long, it does seem to be to his own detriment to cut out the people that were with him earlier, because given how bad it could have gone, it seemed like things with like Scooter Braun, Ryan Good, and that team, at the very least, was when he was most successful. And it was towards the end when things started to go wrong financially for him after he hit adulthood.
Right.
Again, it could come out tomorrow that they're all serial killers, and it's like I don't know, but it just feels like he's not on a better path now. But he also needs more time for that to bear itself out. Like, we were looking at the story yesterday. He's in Switzerland or something recording music. Iceland
He's
recording music. I just laugh. I'm like, why you got to go to Iceland and record it, bro? You can record it at home. I thought you were broke. Like,
yeah, what's
what's up with
this?
that?
How are you paying for the Airbnb?
But the yeah, because I was like, they said like they're at his place. I'm like, if he owns a place in Iceland, how broke is he?
Yeah.
But the point is, it's like if he can find a way to make new music and build another. Plenty of artists have like chapters in their career. Taylor Swift kind of commodified the idea of an era, but plenty of artists have like a run, then they come back and they have another run. And it would lead to new music and new ideas that could be very beneficial to him. I don't know if he has the business acumen to do it. Like, in lieu of being the business person that a Taylor Swift is, you need to have somebody who's cutthroat and on your side. And it's like, if you really think about what it's like to reach that level of money, who do you actually trust? Like, unless you grew up with somebody who just happens to end up being like a world-class financier, how do you actually ever truly trust someone with that much money?
I think that one reason Taylor Swift is such a shrewd businesswoman and at least seems to have her operation on lock in every way is because of the influence of her dad.
Yeah.
You know, she was raised in a wealthy family that had financial security. Her dad was heavily involved in her rise as an artist and made sure she was informed about the legalities of everything. And he held a stake in the record label that originally signed her. Whereas
that's a
Justin
huge
Bieber
head start.
Right. Justin Bieber is open about the fact that he was raised lower middle class with a single mom who probably, of course, like, didn't have a full understanding of the industry that he was entering into, and just thought, like, this is our big break.
It's like people who win the lottery.
And like, we'll just trust the people who are excitedly telling us about all of our opportunities and sign the dotted line.
All right, we'll have to wait and see. There's obviously I imagine that more stuff, given the fact that the Diddy trial is continuing on, that more stuff is going to come out soon, and that'll connect to this in some way. So let's move on.
There is a rumor going around that OnlyFans is on the brink of getting purchased by a rival company and then shut down. This company is called Quitter, and it is an app for quitting pornography. They're saying, at least, that this company is rumored to purchase OnlyFans for the sole purpose of shutting it down. I think that this is incredibly unlikely.
Yeah, let's just check it right at the door because I can already see the comments when we segment this, when we clip this and segment it. Rumor. Like nobody is saying that this is, do not call us fake news. This is not fake news. We're just having a discussion.
So it's called Quitter, but without the E, of course.
Like Getter.
Right, exactly.
Remember Getter?
And here is their description on the App Store. Join over 300,000 users, become porn-free, and regain control of your life. Quitter is the #1 porn recovery app designed to help you regain control and live with purpose. Whether you're looking to cut down or quit entirely, Quitter's neuroscience-backed system helps you reshape your relationship with porn, sex, and dopamine. With a structured 90-day science-based recovery program, real-time progress tracking, an encouraging community, and a full suite of tools, including meditations, interactive challenges, and more, you have everything you need to take charge of your habits, reset your brain, reset your life. So there's a lot more details, but it is growing in popularity fast because this is a market demand. I think that there are a lot of people in the market to find some kind of tool or assistance in quitting pornography.
There's just something really like odd to me. It's like overcome lust 66%, then it gives me some type of graph.
What is that?
Like I have no idea, but it's like there's something weird. Like it feels more like the tech bro sales pitch that they can fix anything with enough graphs, charts, and apps, right?
Yeah, when it really, at the end of the day, has to come down to you and your interior disposition and whether you are ready to make that change.
I know people who got sober and used like the charts and the graphs and like the app that says like you've been sober for this many days. So like that, to me, that was always weird. Like, first of all, if you're gonna remind yourself of it every day, it's one thing to do it internally. It's another thing to put it into the digital space and use it as some type of tracking. It's like when like for a while there I was tracking steps, right? And even that, to me, it's like unless you're diehard about your health and you're setting a goal every day and you make sure you're meeting it, if you're not serious about it, then you're just reminding yourself of your failure every day when you track your step counter and it's not the number that you want. Like it can't work on its own. The app can't solve the problem for you. It has to be paired with, like you said, an actual internal desire to make change. But a lot of times I feel like these apps are sold to you as like a 21st century fix for a much deeper problem that predates that time period.
Yeah. Tell me what you think of this. There's another tool out there which is quite popular called Covenant Eyes. Have you heard of it? So basically you buy this service and it will set you up with an accountability partner. You choose who it is. And if you view pornography, it reports back to that chosen accountability partner. And then they like reach out to you? Yeah. And then you have a conversation about what happened, what like triggered this relapse, or what ways could you exercise more control over what you're exposed to on social media.
How does it know that you consumed it? Because you watched it on the same device?
It's on any device that you register the program on the device.
I mean, so it just seems like for people just like cheating, like lying, basically
finding
lying
a different
to themselves.
Device. Sure, but then at the same time, you have to think like, would they really be in making this huge investment otherwise if they weren't serious? I know there are a lot of. I'm sure that's happened, and I'm sure that's common, but the deterrent obviously is that you are paying for this service, and you must be really serious about it if you set up an accountability partner who is actually a person you know in your real life. So there's that, and then it can detect whether you're looking at pornography just through its algorithm. Like it can basically determine no matter what the platform is that you're accessing, which is why I would say it's more effective than like putting like blockers on, like downloading blockers on your
those things
device.
That you can to stop yourself from using your phone. You can put your phone in like a lockbox that unlocks at a specific time.
That's good for just, exercising control over your screen time. let alone anything related to like pornography.
I guess I would equate that similar to like the idea of like if you're having trouble working out, hiring somebody to a personal trainer is good to get you going into the habits, and then the hope is that you continue on once the habits are formed.
Yeah.
But it's just crazy that that's like a thing.
But
at all.
it's crazy because it makes you realize like the level that people feel they've lost control over their own lives and their actions. So if they're resorting to something that sounds so extreme, that only proves the point, of course, that there is a market demand for services and tools and apps like this, like Quitter. So I looked into this. Someone asked Grok for a fact check on the rumor that they are thinking about buying OnlyFans. They said the idea of Quitter trying to buy OnlyFans to shut it down sounds wild, but Quitter has been making waves. It says 3 young men built it to help Gen Z ditch porn addiction, and it's apparently pulling in $250,000 a month just 4 months after launch. They've got, they're aiming for viral stunts to get attention, so a buyout and shutdown of OnlyFans rumor could be part of their playbook to stir the pot. However, even making that much money per month, they're at $250,000 per month. That is nowhere near the amount of capital that they would need to have already in order to buy out OnlyFans, which is, as of 2024, valued at approximately $18 billion, which is 8 times more than their valuation in 2020. And if you recall, 2020 was the year that OnlyFans blew up in popularity because all of these people were shut into their homes, lost their jobs. They were probably watching and making pornography more than ever because of those circumstances. And it's only gotten bigger and bigger since. The company reported revenues of $1.3 billion for the financial year of 2023, a 20% increase from the previous year, and they're growing significantly. So there's no way that Quitter would have the means to buy it out.
See, this
Who would anyway?
This is what Elizabeth Holmes should be investing in. She should be investing in some type of like rewards-based No Nut November app where you somehow are able to prove every day that you have semen retention and you make money or you get in-game currency.
I'm trying to find out what the evaluation of something like Netflix is.
Nut tokens.
Do you have a guess?
High billions.
So do you think like on par with the 18 billion estimate?
Higher, way higher.
Way like hundreds of billions?
Yes.
Still though, like to consider the size of OnlyFans and the porn industry in general compared to mainstream entertainment, it's shockingly
503 billion as of May 16th.
Yeah. But that's not a testament to like Netflix being more popular. It's just that OnlyFans is on the rise more than mainstream entertainment is, unfortunately. And
well, no, I think
the porn industry is
a certain amount of that would also be regards to being advertiser friendly. Like there's more room, especially since Netflix added ad tiers and they monetize in other ways. It's a advertiser friendly medium.
So it was back in 2022, am I correct, that OnlyFans was playing with the idea of going safe for work only?
Sounds like that, or it was like there was around that time. No, there was a period of time where they wanted to move into like the Patreon area and like.
But wasn't that like in 2022?
It was before that.
Or 2021?
2021.
They made an announcement that they were going to shift over to only safe for work content.
And then that just fell apart right away.
Obviously, the vast majority of their creators lashed out and said this was unacceptable and they were not going to stay on the platform. So they had to shift their plan over to just be inclusive of both adult and safe for work content.
Yeah.
So that is dead in the water. But I just found out that the co-founder of OnlyFans is about to launch his own rival platform called subs.com. His name is Tim Stokely, and this is so weird. He founded OnlyFans back in 2016 alongside his father and his brother. And then they sold it off to the current CEO.
Was it envisioned as a adult content site?
I am not sure if they intended for it,
but
but
OnlyFans doesn't scream X-rated
but
content.
the fact that they allowed X-rated content from the beginning of the company says that they weren't opposed to it going in that direction. So they ended up selling the company to the current CEO, Leo Redvinsky, in 2018.
I vaguely remember that guy showing up on the guy who goes, wow, "Nice car. What do you do for a living?"
Wait, what?
You know, have you ever seen these?
I've seen those videos, but I don't know what you're talking about.
That guy ended up like being one of the people on that.
The Leo Redvinsky guy?
If it wasn't that guy, it was somebody else high up in the company where they're like, "Nice car.
He's like,
what do you do for
I run OnlyFans."
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
It's kind of a scary existence to live. And the founder was the CEO after the sale for a couple of years, but he stepped down in 2021, and now he's talking about raising up this new platform, Subs, and he wants it to basically mix adult and non-adult content, and he thinks that it'll have an edge because they want to make it easier to move from free to paid content, including like paying for personal phone calls, sort of the same way that Patrick Bet-David launched what is that platform?
I don't know. I don't watch Valuetainment.
But he launched a platform that's like subscription, and you can DM or have phone calls with different influencers.
The other thing that I see, I don't know, like the other thing that I see as an issue for an app like Quitter is like with most of these services, just like a dating app, their business model is supposed to supposedly get you to eventually leave it, right? Like on Bumble, eventually, if it works the way it's supposed to, you shouldn't need it anymore. Is the idea here that eventually you'll have quit and you won't need the app anymore? Then they have to find another reason to keep you on. Because if it's like no business venture like this, however well-intentioned, is ever entirely without, personal interest.
I think they wouldn't be as worried about that because...
Minect, is that what it's called?
Yeah, Minect is,
Thank you, guys.
Is correct. They wouldn't be as worried about that because porn addiction is so widespread that
so
you're
is needing
almost
a
going to
husband.
have...
So is needing a husband or a wife.
What you mean in regard to dating apps?
Yeah, and they still sell you a lifetime membership.
On Tinder?
But I think Bumble sells like a lifetime membership or something like that. One of them did.
That's wild. But similarly with Tinder, though, there's going to be a never-ending stream of new adults who are single. So you're never going to run out of single people because there are always going to be people, turning 18, entering the dating pool, entering the pool of people who can make an account.
So they will become the $1.50 Costco hot dogs of porn addiction, of beating porn addiction. It'll just stay the same the whole time.
I have no idea what that means.
Like the Costco hot dog, it's been the same price forever. So like this app will never change, and they won't find a way to keep you on the app. It won't.
I don't
evolve.
think that they foresee ending porn addiction in the world and losing a customer base. Yeah. No, I mean it's just one effort out of many thousands of different ideas.
It says there's a panic button.
Yeah, what does it say?
It says, stop what you're doing and breathe. That's what I can read. The rest of it's kind of hard to read there.
I don't know what they've come up with for that. But
like, it can tell your heart rate is spiking, and they're like, stop what you're doing.
It's probably some sort of, like, sensory device.
Again, it feels like a modern solution to a very, very deep and long-held problem in culture that I worry that a lot of times the tech industry wants to sell you a glamorous, high-tech looking fix to something that's much deeper than that.
I've heard similar criticisms for the Hallow app, which is an app for prayer. And the explanation that has always been given by their CEO is that no one at Hallow is trying to sell you the idea that you need Hallow to pray. It just helps. Okay. That's all. You know, so I think they could say a similar thing for an app like this. You don't need this app to quit watching pornography. It just could be helpful.
Okay.
We have a 20 from Pop Culture Junkie. Leo Radvinsky also owns the My Free Cams cam girl site that he started. Yeah, I haven't looked into his acumen and like where he's been before OnlyFans, but I kind of want to do a deep dive on both.
All right. Well, we should do it. All right. Let's move on. What would you like to see? Cringe or cute of the day?
Up to you.
All right. We actually have 2 cringes because I have a cringe as well.
Oh.
I saw this one yesterday and I had to show this one to you. I think you'll like this
Okay.
one. So if you're listening right now, there is a young woman in the front yard of what looks like a very nice home
Okay.
with speakers set up, a band, a microphone. She even looks like she's got her own little mini set built there. And it says, "This song is for all the queer neurodivergent kids who thought they'd be stuck in the suburbs forever."
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Didn't do any homework this week. Thank God for my 504. Growing up in the suburbs, there's nowhere for you to scream. Growing up in the suburbs, there's nowhere for you to scream. Growing up in the suburbs, there's nowhere for you to scream. Growing up in the suburbs, there's nowhere for you to scream. Growing up in the suburbs,
I love the Palestinian flag.
I am not afraid of hell. I am from Connecticut. Is there anybody who's lived what I'm living through? Or is everyone living the same life as me? I think I've disappeared into relativity. 1, 2, 3, 4. Growing up in the suburbs.
I won't make you go through it.
Growing up in the suburbs. There's nowhere for you.
Okay.
Wow, I didn't think it was gonna get worse, and then that bridge.
I love how they just took normal teenage angst and made it
About
like,
being
made
gay.
it about being gay. The meme was always like punk band says we got to get out of this place, the place they were in, and it's like the nicest township you've ever seen in your entire life.
Yeah.
There was plenty of comments that said Steven Universe ruined a whole generation of kids.
What does this have to do with Steven Universe?
Says this is the musical equivalent of eating cardboard. Oh no, I grew up in an economically safe and stable area.
Yeah, there's I mean, maybe you could say something about like growing up in a rural area and like
Whatever, man. They just don't
middle of
understand them.
nowhere.
What they're saying is they have teenage angst and people just don't get them.
they're not going to move to the city in this economy.
What they don't understand is that plenty of people grew up feeling like the world didn't understand them, and it had nothing to do with affinity groups or gender or anything or
Wow.
marginalized communities. So I thought you'd love that.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, there's the one from
That
yesterday.
was yesterday's
Here we
cringe.
go.
This is a Katy Perry cringe where she is explaining the concept behind her choreography in her new tour, which is flopping.
I pick a few super deep cuts from each album.
Oh, I love it.
In this video game show, there are levels and there are goals, and I have to collect hearts in order to use that to power up to defeat the mainframe, the evil forces. I actually have a section, it's like level 3.5, where it's a bonus section.
Her eyebrow was sticking again, and I was getting flashbacks to that one clip of her on stage.
I've collected enough hearts, and I get to now choose my own adventure. I get to revisit a past timeline, and I pick a few super deep cuts from each album.
Oh, I love it.
And
Okay. Well, do you think she ever like yearns to wear just like the athleisure she was wearing in that one picture
She
on
looks
stage?
so much more comfortable.
She's like, I don't want to go out there in this.
in this plastic armor.
Okay.
Like, girl, just sing the songs. No one cares.
All right, let's get rid of that. Let's go to this cute of the day. This one's from Dead Man. I just picked one at random. He's been giving like day updates on his kitties, but I have this one from day 18. Post-birth Valentine taking a break from feeding her kitties.
Aww.
There was a lot more than that.
She
but I
is
just-
mother.
She is. literally
Mother
mother.
is mothering.
She is. All right,
Very cute.
guys, let's get started.
This is not the first run-in that Trump has had with Taylor Swift, but he just reignited their beef with a Truth Social post about Taylor. Was this today?
Yes.
Yeah, this morning. He said, "Has anyone noticed that since I said I hate Taylor Swift, she's no longer hot?" The epitome of petty shit-talking, drama-stirring Donald Trump, like, at his finest.
Do you think I think that he just knows that he wields so much power that on any given day he can pick a target and make a whole... He can control the news cycle.
Discourse, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, if I was Taylor Swift...
The post you're showing has nothing to do with Taylor Swift, though. That's about Bruce Springsteen. We'll get to that later.
If I was Taylor Swift, I would pay him to say this stuff.
I think that she's had quite enough of Donald Trump commenting on her publicly, and probably is adding this to her list of, victimhood grievances. But it is well known that she dislikes Trump, and it's, the feeling is mutual. She endorsed Kamala Harris in the past election, which did not move the needle for Kamala.
No.
And I think that was a big blow to not only Taylor Swift's ego, but the collective ego of a lot of celebrities who thought that they wielded more power over the culture than they actually do. They were coming out in full force to back Kamala Harris and convince people to vote for her. And even despite their best efforts, it made no difference. And Trump still won the popular vote, not just the Electoral College. So they had a huge reckoning for how much influence they actually wield over the public in that moment. And now Trump is in charge, baby. And he can say whatever he wants. I don't know how I feel about this statement, though. Like, what popped into his mind? He was like, this morning, I just want to start some shit with Taylor.
I mean, first of all, it's getting like reinterpreted by everyone in a different way, which is actually genius on his part. The best people, the best social media engagement farmers are the ones who make a statement just vague enough that it can be interpreted in any way that you want.
Well,
so some people are interpreting it as he's saying that she's not physically hot. Other people are interpreting it as him saying she's not blowing up the charts anymore. And then everybody argues between the two, and somebody comes in and is like, actually, she's part of she's a demon sent from Moloch to destroy society. And it all devolves into a discussion in which the only person who really wins here is Trump, if you ask me.
I think unless you're being
They both
obtuse, you can tell that what he meant by hot in that Truth Social post was definitely about physical attractiveness. And he's just like taking a shot at her looks, which I'm not above. But, aside from that,
I don't necessarily
people talk
interpret it that way.
I think it's pretty clear, unless you're over intellectualizing it, that he's talking about her looks. But people talk about the phenomenon of...
I feel like he wouldn't have put it in quotes if he was just talking about her looks. Maybe I'm overthinking it.
I think you are overthinking it. Everyone's saying that this isn't about her appearance is kind of overthinking it. But people talk about the phenomenon of the Trump curse, and he can kind of say something about a celebrity or a politician and place a curse over them, and suddenly they'll start flopping, and he can destroy someone's reputation with the click of a button. And I don't know, maybe he's implying that when he declared that he hates Taylor Swift last year, that was what ushered in her next flop era. She kind of has been out of the public eye.
She was finishing, Alex Clark points it out, she was at the end of a tour. She was just at the natural end of that business cycle.
Alex Clark is a well-known Swiftie on the political right who did vote for Trump.
But loves Taylor Swift.
Loves Taylor Swift, and there's no reason that she can't do both. But she said, objectively false, bigot superstar of not only our generation, but one of the most successful and biggest of all time. She's never been hotter professionally. She has taken a few needed months off after running the biggest multi-year tour in the world. This is unnecessary of the president. She is white knighting for Taylor out on the timeline.
My favorite part about this is, like, whenever people on the right, whenever Trump comes after somebody they like, they suddenly forget what Trump is like. And understand that the truth of the matter is irrelevant to what Trump was saying. He's engagement farming and putting it out there. I don't believe for a second that he even thinks or cares. I think he's just putting it out there.
I don't know why.
Because it literally crossed his mind and he just typed it. And that is usually what people like about him, when he's aiming that ire at people that they also don't like. But when they come at somebody,
Hillary Clinton or Nancy Pelosi. Or...
But if he comes across somebody that you do like, then I mean, this kind of happened when he had negative stuff to say about Thomas Massey. And then people were like, "What's he doing?" I'm like, "He's just being him. You just happen to not agree with him right now."
Like, he's been a politician for long enough that this is just what we've come to expect. I don't know why anyone is surprised. It also seemed to hit home for Yashar Ali, who said Taylor Swift just wrapped up a 2-year world tour that broke every touring record in history and pulled in billions of dollars. Again, Trump wasn't saying that she's unsuccessful. He was saying she's not hot. And I believe that's very clearly a statement about her looks. And then Phil, friend of the show, of course, replied saying her level of hot has nothing to do with the fact that so far she's one of the best songwriters of the 21st century. I also disagree with that. I don't think she's one of the best songwriters, but that is the reason why people flock to the Eras tour, because it's about the storytelling of it all and like feeling like you're involved in her personal story as an artist.
Cat Turd went after her personally with that photo. He picked like literally the worst photo
have
you could. It's literally up on screen. Yeah, that's like they picked. She's flat as a board across the board in that picture.
But like she's always looked like that, and I think people are overstating it to say that she's not attractive. I think it's pretty obvious that Taylor Swift is an attractive woman. Like, I'm not saying she's a Victoria's Secret model, but she's definitely good looking. And even President Trump agrees with that. As of 2023, he was interviewed by the editor-in-chief at Variety for a book called Apprentice in Wonderland. And at the time, he was asked to provide his thoughts on Taylor Swift. And he praised her not for her music, but for her looks, saying, I think she's beautiful, very beautiful. I find her very beautiful. This is the actual quote. I think she's liberal, talking about himself in third person. She probably doesn't like Trump. I hear she's very talented. I think she's very beautiful, actually. Unusually beautiful.
Again,
so he was laying on thick the praise for her appearance specifically. And I will say Taylor Swift is the definition of Donald Trump's personal type, with being a tall, leggy blonde. That is what he's into. Look at his ex-wives. She fits the bill.
I don't think we can difference of opinion here. I don't think he was talking about her physical appearance with this tweet. I don't interpret it that way. This is I have to read you this response though, because this is why I love these threads personally. This person responded to Alex Clark and said, "Sorry, Alex, bad take. Taylor Swift is a witchcraft promoting, bland, basic, run-of-the-mill artist whose insane popularity comes from her servitude of Satan, not actually being a quality artist. Trump is right. She's not hot. She's not even good. Worst of all, she supports everything on the left that the left has proudly supported, abortions, etc. Bad take." And then other people, I've seen Moloch multiple times in these threads. I just love when people go and have
Where
these
is
discussions.
the Taylor Swift spirit cooking evidence?
So also, this person says, of all time, Michael Jackson and Elvis would like a word. Well, Alex Clark didn't say she was the biggest artist of all time. She said she's the biggest artist of her generation.
Well, she said
but one of
the most successful. Like, people are just being a little bit obtuse about this. And there is still, despite our best efforts and Alex Clark's best efforts, a problem on the right where people feel proud of not understanding or appreciating the influence that celebrities have.
I did read a I wish I had saved it, of a guy who said that he had never heard of her until the 2023 playoffs in the NFL. And I said, "You're just lying."
No. Like, that's another thing.
This isn't Dua Lipa.
Like, chronically
this isn't
online,
Charlie XCX.
Yeah, like, chronically online people who are on right-wing Twitter love to say that they have no idea who so-and-so celebrity is. I'm sorry, if you're claiming that you never heard of Taylor Swift until 2 years ago, you're just lying and you don't even sound cool. it sounds like you're hating from outside the club and you're kind of obsessed in a negative way. And yeah, it's a continued problem. Like, I don't think you have to worship celebrities, but to discredit the idea that culture matters is a continued pathology on the right, and it needs to stop. It needs to be rooted out.
Yeah.
I think we're a part of that.
I would
Certainly
like to think
Alex
so.
Clark has been, with the first pop culture show in right-wing media ever in 2019, which is shockingly late in the game. Like, she, of all people, understands that. It's important. And now, in the same Truth Social rant,
It's always Truth Social.
Donald Trump had some choice words to share about Bruce Springsteen, who is a well-known Trump hater. He said, "I see that the highly overrated Bruce Springsteen goes to a foreign country to speak badly about the President of the United States. Never liked him, never liked his music or his radical left politics, and importantly, he's not a talented guy, just a pushy, obnoxious jerk who fervently supported crooked Joe Biden, a mentally incompetent fool, and our worst ever president who came close to destroying our country. If I wasn't elected, it would have been gone by now. Sleepy Joe didn't have a clue as to what he was doing, but Springsteen is dumb as a rock and couldn't see what was going on. Or could he? Which is even worse. This dried out prune of a rocker, his skin is all atrophied, ought to keep his mouth shut until he gets back into the country. That's just standard fare. Then we'll all see how it goes for him."
My question is, like, do you think he's ever typing something like this out and somebody starts talking and he goes,
Like, does he have someone writing this stuff
dictate
for
it?
him?
Yeah.
Does he say it out loud and someone writes it down with the right, intonation and capitalization?
Though I do think that Bruce Springsteen does look like Megan Rapinoe in some way,
see
shape,
it.
or form. It is not to be undersold that Bruce Springsteen, remember yesterday we were talking about Justin Bieber selling his music catalog? I think the highest sale for a music catalog ever was Bruce Springsteen at $500 million. So say of that what you will.
Much later in his career.
Oh
than
yeah,
Justin, though.
yes, much later.
Yeah.
I
don't even know where is Bruce Springsteen right now.
He was where
Is
was
he in
He said
Ukraine or
he's
something?
Probably. But here's the thing. I
hobby.
think it's hilarious when Trump does it about Taylor Swift. I think it's hilarious when Trump does it about Bruce Springsteen.
Doesn't matter
I
to
love
me.
it when he takes his little weird Hollywood side quests to start beef.
Because that's his origin story,
Yeah.
He still feels like he needs to prove something to that Hollywood entertainment industry sphere where he came from.
Yeah.
Like, he always wanted to be more than just a businessman. He wanted to be an entertainer. And then when that, when he crossed that territory and he was successful in that,
He was in Manchester.
then he moved on to politics.
He was in England. That's where Bruce Springsteen was.
Talking shit about Trump in England.
Mm-hmm.
Just L on top of L
Yep.
for these people.
I just I love it when Trump goes off on the random celebrities. What's the most iconic of the ones that he's done? He's done some pretty famous ones. Even like we're not even
Rosie
talking
O'Donnell.
Rosie
for
O'Donnell.
sure. That would be. It's surprising because she's not even that famous. But yeah, Rosie O'Donnell has to be his most well-known celebrity insult. Yeah. He even had beef with Megyn Kelly for a while, who supported him in this past election. Yeah. Good on her for putting their beef to rest.
All right.
Caring about keeping the country first instead of her own personal bias.
All right, let's do some super chats.
Greg Duvier said, after last night, Timcast IRL, Mary believes in aliens, Nephilim, and thinks the Book of Enoch should be put into the Catholic Bible.
So what was this about? I kind of asked you about it
Yeah.
off air, but it sounds like it got pretty wild.
It wasn't, I don't know.
I mean, like wild and just like it's just not a discussion me and you would ever end up
Yeah.
having.
So Tim had this author named Tim Alberino
Okay.
as one of the guests. And he has written books. I know nothing about this guy, really, but he's written books about aliens
Okay.
and what he believes to be evidence for human contact with aliens in ancient history. And he's drawing all these connections from different cultural myths. And he includes the Bible in that.
Okay.
And he seems to interpret all scripture and apocrypha as evidence for human contact with aliens. He thinks that angels in the Bible are aliens and fallen angels are aliens. And he thinks that that's why they had babies with human women that were giants.
Can I ask a question?
Nephilim.
I feel dumb. What's the difference between an angel and a fallen angel? Like, what makes an angel a fallen angel?
A fallen angel is a demon.
Okay. I literally
So-
didn't know that.
So, like, Satan was an angel, and then he fell
Okay.
from heaven when he rebelled against God.
Okay.
He's a demon now. Yeah.
Okay.
And there were other angels that rebelled at the same time and also fell from heaven.
Mary was very intrigued, I'm sure, by this whole discussion.
It's just like alien talk is so boring to me, but I also don't believe any of it. And I was just saying, I was merely saying that the Catholic view is, of course, that the Book of Enoch is not authoritative scripture.
Okay.
So I'm not required to subscribe to anything that's, accounted in that. And then also the Catholic view that angels are not in a physical form. They
Okay.
don't have a physical body. They're purely spiritual, purely intellectual beings, and therefore I find it hard or impossible to believe they would have been capable of having relations with human women and then impregnating them with, giant babies.
Do you think this is the type?
It just sounds like bullshit.
Do you think it's the type of thing that maybe later in life you might find interesting with more? Like I don't know. Like is
We
it
have a
something like because I saw
20
somebody said that
before we get any
Michael.
further. Wake Green said, "Hey everyone, sorry I'm late. Hope everyone is having a blessed Friday. All hail PCC. Thank you."
I think I saw somebody say that Michael Knowles did a segment with that guy.
I didn't know that.
Okay, so like, is it something that maybe like later in life you might have more of an interest in looking at,
No.
like with more time? No.
It's all bullshit. I promise you that. And I find it rich that people find it so easy to buy into these alien narratives, but not the narrative of actual scripture that Jesus Christ resurrected from the dead. Then is when they'll be like skeptical and be like, but what about the science? And then when they hear stuff about aliens, it's like they're all in with no hesitation.
I mean, it still at least sounds like it was probably interesting for the people that were listening.
Yeah, fair enough, but they were all mad at me for not believing in aliens, and I was just like, can we chill out about this?
Don't worry, we have a fluffy bunny rabbit of a chat for us, so we're
Truly,
good.
yeah.
$2 Rumble rant from the local Wendigo says, "I'm going to diddle Diddy in his sleep." Don't do that.
Please don't.
Don't do that. That's bad. And $10 from Ben Canceled. It's just looks like it's a redacted line. He must work for the CIA.
Well, thanks anyway.
So, all right, let's maybe do one more, and then we will move on.
Shane H. Wilder said, "Happy Friday, Brett and Mary. The PCC The Movie 2 trailer is done and will drop Monday. I released a movie poster today."
Okay.
And then he also said, "Sorry, Greg, but dude last night was cray-cray." Well, I don't think he was cray-cray, but he definitely had some cray-cray ideas that I disagreed with.
Okay. All right. Let's move on then.
Yes. Lorde is in the process of promoting her upcoming album, Virgin, and we've talked about it on the show last week. But she just did a cover story with Rolling Stone titled, I kid you not, "I'm an Intense Bitch." So thank you for telling us, Lorde, before we get into any of the insane things that she said in this interview. I want to start off by showing you this photo in the spread.
Hold on.
She's pull that up. Thank you. And they said Lorde is goofy for Rolling Stone. Okay,
It's like
so,
everybody's kind of fallen victim to like so-and-so stuns.
Yeah, you're getting the picture by now that Lorde is really quirky.
She's not like most girls.
She's LOL, so random.
I feel like she's kind of falling victim to the same falling behind that Katy Perry has. She hasn't caught on to the most current version
Yes.
of feminism.
No, the best advice I can give Lorde, just to start off with, is stop hanging out with Charlie XCX. Her weirdness is rubbing off on you. So the subhead
If
here
you're
says,
gonna hang out with somebody weird, hang out with Lana Del Rey.
Virgin, her first album in 4 years, is raw, wild, and sublime, but it came after a series of personal changes and revelations. From a breakup to an eating disorder to an expanding gender identity, now she's ready to talk about all of it. And it was a doozy.
She's a celebrity. They're always ready to talk about all of it.
So the first revelation from this interview that is getting the most attention right now is that Lorde went off of birth control in 2023. And it seems to have had a serious effect on her mentally. She said she had been on birth control since she was 15 years old. And at the age of, I think, 26, went off of it, saying, "I've now come to see my decision was maybe some quasi-right-wing programming. But I hadn't ovulated in 10 years, and when I ovulated for the first time, I cannot describe to you how crazy it was. One of the best drugs I've ever done."
Being able to have kids is right-wing.
So she's implying here that she fell to some sort of right-wing narrative that convinced her to quit birth control.
Yeah.
And Evie Magazine responded to this headline because they've been one of the frontrunners on talking about birth control and the risks and a lot of the misinformation that's spread about it to women who take it. They say Lorde's choice of words reveals something deeper and troubling about the cultural minefield women have to tiptoe through when they make health decisions that don't align with progressive orthodoxy. She had to preface her decision to quit birth control with a nod to right-wing programming because apparently listening to your body gets you side-eyed as a secret trad wife in disguise.
I will say that if you were to turn that argument on its head, there's plenty of people in right-wing circles that would look at you with side eyes if you tell them that you are on birth control. So it isn't inherently wrong to say that it might be some form of right-wing programming.
It's just funny because the left used to represent like natural stuff and like hippies and crunchy people.
Crunchies.
And it's completely flipped in recent years to the point where Lorde feels the need to issue a disclaimer before talking about her own health decision.
Yep.
Because if she didn't make a nod to like right-wing programming, her fans would have accused her of being secretly right-wing just because she doesn't take a mind-altering drug that makes you infertile.
What does the left think of home birth?
They're against. Because the left, the default lib take on everything related to health at this point is trust the science, trust the medical industrial complex on every last thing. And if you don't believe doctors on all of their opinions, even their educated
unless
opinions,
they tell you you don't have autism, that in which case you can self-diagnose.
Basically, like, you're an enemy of progressivism if you don't believe the science on every single issue. So if you think that there are undisclosed risks in taking hormonal birth control, you're basically, as they said, a secret trad wife in disguise who's trying to fool everyone. You know, you would think that getting off of birth control would actually stabilize Lorde's mental health so that she wouldn't say even more insane things like this. She says that in recent years, she has become close friends with a fellow artist, Chapel Roan. And when she was asked how she identifies in her gender in this interview, here's what Lorde had to say. Chapel Roan asked me this. She was like, "So, are you non-binary now?" And I was like, "I'm a woman, except for the days when I'm a man." I know that's not a very satisfying answer, but there's a part of me that is really resistant to boxing it up. So some days Lorde wakes up and she feels like a woman, maybe the days where she's ovulating. And other days she wakes up and she's just not really feeling it that day and she's like, "I'm a man." But she doesn't want to fully go into identifying as non-binary.
This is what happened when we started
labels.
We started with situationships. We're like, we don't want to put a label on it.
Right.
And this is what happens. This is the slippery slope. When I posted about this, I kind of mourned to myself because I knew that I am not smart enough. I'm not intellectual enough to actually be able to write and monologue to you something interesting about what I think or feel about this statement. I can't. I'm not like, there are plenty of people in this space who I'm sure will eloquently talk about this, but all I thought of when I saw this was just like, look, I would like to think of myself as closer to the average everyday person who is willing to take into account what you consider your lived experience, that phrase that they love to use.
Yeah.
What, you know, and then somebody says it's a fallacy. All experience is lived experience. Fine. You get what I'm saying, right? But respectfully, what the fuck does that mean? Like,
Yeah.
what I mean by that is, like, I don't hear anyone. I know this is this comparison is a bit of a pastiche. It's like nobody says, like, I woke up today and I was just feeling Hispanic. I woke up today and I was feeling Asian.
What I do when I
I'm-
wake up and feel Hispanic is I go to Taco Bell.
I'm white except for on the days when I'm Asian. That's not a thing. And if it is, it's a Ryan Long skit. And if it is any other way, it was on Jerry Springer or Maury back in the day. It was something that was shown as tabloid fodder on a reality TV show. And as somebody who wants to, like, listen and actually just let you be, I just find it incongruous and weird sometimes, mostly because it's coming from vapid celebrities who are obsessed and have enough wealth and power to hold such luxury beliefs where the average person who's worried about making rent doesn't have time to think about these issues. And I know that those are tired talking points, but I think it bears repeating because I don't think of myself as an explicitly right-wing person in most beliefs. I think that there's a distinction to be made there. And if I'm like, what does that mean? You're going to lose a lot of people who are a lot less, you know, willing to put up with your bullshit. Does that make sense? For a lack of better, like, I don't begrudge anyone who's like, shut the fuck up. Like, even if that's not the approach I would take, I don't begrudge anyone because it's like, it's the same thing as waking up and saying, I feel like a billionaire, therefore I'm a billionaire today. And we've just induced a certain type of psychosis that I can't really comfortably say I understand.
Well, your impulse to show people respect and let them live and identify the way that they wish to is mistaken, I'll say. And the only logical response to someone saying that they're gender fluid or whatever the hell they are is shut the fuck up. That is the only logical response at this point. And, you know, it's not, I've stressed this point. It is not about them living the way they want to live. It is about you. It's never about them. It's about you and your response and your perception of them and how you will show them respect and how you respond to the way they present themselves. It is completely performative. So it's, if it were just, you know, an exercise in, you know, I want to dress this way some days and I want to dress this way on other days, that would certainly be one thing. But what she's doing right now is talking about her expanding gender identity in an interview that she knows is going to be blasted out to thousands of people for attention in order to sell her music and do what she believes will gain her favor and traction with Gen Zers who don't know about royals, who don't listen to her debut album and have no idea who she is.
I mean, all of it, like my initial reaction.
It's a cheap trick.
Like, I'm only even expanding on this because it's my job to expand on this. My reaction in the real world is to roll my eyes and just continue on about my day. Unfortunately, that doesn't fill up a segment's worth of time. We have to actually
look, that's how I
talk
feel.
about it.
I've walked into a Starbucks before, seen a dude who identifies as a chick at the counter and walked right out.
Yep.
Because I am not going to let this person impose on me that I have to treat them a certain way. It's always about shit testing society, basically. That's what it is. when you're adopting these different marginalized identities, especially about your gender and your gender expression, it's about shit testing every last person that you interact with in public. Now, what she's doing, she believes that Gen Z reads this and is like, oh, she's gender fluid. That's so cool. They don't even like this. Like, it's not even landing with Gen Z. They think that this is super cringy and that she needs to just stick to what she's good at.
So it was like what? Like younger millennials?
It's a millennials idea of what's cool to Gen Z.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then lastly, Lorde talked about her experience in a psychedelic-fueled therapy session, not kidding you, where she watched Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee's sex tape in full. Here's what she said
You
about
have to
it.
read the quote. It's insane.
I found it to be so beautiful, and maybe it's effed up that I watched it, but I saw two people that were so in love with each other, and there was this purity. They were jumping off this big boat. They were like children. They were so free, and I was just like, whoa, being this free comes with danger.
It's just...
You've lost your mind.
As a millennial who grew up with Kazaa and Napster, and knowing that many young men my age probably jerked off for the first time to tapes as such, she's adding a weird level of pseudo-intellectual babble to something that was actually pretty traumatic to everybody involved, considering the tape itself was stolen and then illegally dispersed to the public and not meant to be shared with everyone. So when she says I shouldn't be watching it, or like she's like, maybe it was wrong.
Effed up.
Like, what does she mean by that? Is it the idea that you watch something that was never meant for public release?
Oh my gosh, yeah. She just last week attended the Met Gala with Pamela Anderson there. Do you think Pamela Anderson
She's
would
like,
feel
oh my god, I love your sex tape.
with someone coming up to her and saying, like, I watched your revenge porn tape and I thought it was super artistic and enlightening? No. We have a 20 from Not So Secretly Based. Friday, no Friday because of the PCC gang. Thank you for being here, TGIF. Someone responded to that comment from Rolling Stone saying a stolen tape that's basically revenge porn and you're using it as a part of some bullshit psychedelic therapy sessions. You're not an alt angsty teenager anymore. You're just an adult loser.
I guess I don't think of it as revenge porn because one of them would have had to. I guess it's revenge porn.
It was a disgruntled employee.
So it's not the traditional idea of
Yeah.
what you think of as revenge porn, but yeah.
She's super out of touch. She's going the same route as Katy Perry, using these cheap tricks to remain relevant, and not even the people she's appealing to are into it. They hate this, and it's time for artists to just focus on like singing. That would be nice.
That would be good. That would be good. They need to find, or if they're going to venture off into pseudo-intellectual cultural bullshit, they need to hire better consultants.
Clearly, what happened to Lorde is years of hormonal birth control, other drug use, being an out-of-touch elite one-hit wonder, threw her brain, her identity, her worldview into a tailspin, and now we're looking at the wreckage.
Yep.
And I guess it's going to be streaming on Spotify soon. Bleh.
All right, we'll have to wait and see if it works out for her because it didn't seem like a lot of people were very excited about that.
Greg Duvier said Shane, that guy definitely had interesting ideas. He did a 2-hour video with Michael Knowles a few weeks ago. It was an interesting video. They did one of those interviews like about aliens, I guess.
Michael Knowles seems like a guy who likes to have discussions with people who he disagrees with and takes a good interest in what they find interesting or what they believe.
Yeah, he is good at that. I'm not.
Mary just has him on. She's like, shut up.
It's just like, I don't have the impulse in me to be like, wow, so you're saying that the Nephilim were 9-foot-tall giants, but we don't have any skeletal remains of the Nephilim, but they were like definitely real because it says so in the book of Enoch. Wow, can you expand on that? I'm fascinated. It's a snooze fest to me. Sad Laughter said PCC is chicken noodle soup for the brain, yo.
That's us.
Nourishing content, you might say?
That's we actually had this discussion last night where Olivia used the word nourishing. I said, you don't understand. It's only annoying when it's being said by a crunchy who's making me feel guilty for not eating the right way. Because it's actually what it is you're telling on yourself. When I tell you that, it's actually me being introspective about the fact that, hey, I'm not doing what's right for my body and I'm taking it out on this person because their word is triggering to me.
You're supposed to eat blueberries and raw beef off of a rustic cutting board.
With raw milk.
With raw milk on the side.
Eating yummy food and walking 10,000 steps per day.
Nourishing food.
And using the sauna and the cold plunge.
Going to red light therapy for your ball sack.
Yes.
Shane H. Wilder said, only hint I can give about the PCC trailer is that it went from action to horror.
No.
Happy 3-year anniversary. Also, I still remember the live test. Yeah, before the first live episode was the live test episode, which was back when we had Lydia and Andy in the studio trying to help us work out the kinks.
Feels
and
like a
it
lifetime
was,
ago.
Yeah, it feels like a long time ago. I usually don't say that. I usually think that it feels like yesterday, but no, it really feels like a long time ago. Weary Traveler said, Team is such a goated song. It is. Like, that whole first album from her was great stuff, and I don't think she's been able to replicate it since.
I heard Team for the first time. There was a show, an Edward Allan Bernero show. He's the guy who created Criminal Minds. There was a show called Crossing Lines, which was like a group of cops from different jurisdictions in the EU that got authorization from The Hague to like investigate crimes in in a bunch of countries. And it only went like 3 seasons and probably was ahead of its time, honestly, as far as like the type of content it was making. They used that song in like one of the episode finales. And I still think about that sometimes. I love that episode.
It was a great song.
It was a great song.
Quiet and Ari said, stuck in the woods with a man or a Swiftie? What do you say? I mean, Olivia is a Swiftie, so you have to say Swiftie.
I have to say Swiftie.
Yeah.
I get to pick the Swiftie. If I do, it's my Swiftie.
Yeah.
It's my Swiftie.
I would choose a man because a man is more likely to get us out of that situation.
Yeah, but
and
in
a
that
Swiftie is just going to hysterically cry.
Let's hold off on the rest and we will come back. Let's move on.
All right. The new movie from The Weeknd and Jenna Ortega, Hurry Up Tomorrow, is currently released and out there. It's getting clowned on all over the timeline, deservedly. And critics gave it a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm not kidding. I've never even seen that before.
14 reviews too, so it's not like it's 0 reviews.
Yes, and now it has more reviews from critics, and it's at a 15%. Which isn't all that much better, but still like better than 0. So this was released as a companion piece to The Weeknd's 6th studio album, which is of the same name, Hurry Up Tomorrow.
Okay.
And it stars The Weeknd, but he's playing a fictionalized version of himself. An insomniac musician on the verge of a mental breakdown who is pulled into an existential odyssey by a mysterious stranger. So it's already giving art house slop to begin with. And I wasn't hoping for that much better from The Weeknd because as he's tried to expand outside of just music and get into acting, we saw him play a music executive in The Idol.
Yeah.
Co-starring with Lily Rose Depp. I did not watch that show, but everything I learned about it, I learned against my will, and it was awful. I saw clips of him trying to play a character that is intimidating and manipulative, and it actually just came off like he couldn't get rid of the gay voice. It was really embarrassing for him, but he wasn't gonna give up there. Now the movie is out, and it looks like trash. It looks like it sucks ass.
So it's got The Weeknd, Jenna Ortega, and Barry Keoghan. It's interesting that he's going by his given name and not The Weeknd.
By Abel?
Yep.
Yeah, he's trying to become a slashy, a multi-hyphenate.
I mean, the Rock took a while before he became Like, if I remember correctly, he started going by Dwayne Johnson because he couldn't legally go by The Rock for a period of time because the WWE owned the moniker. If I remember correctly, I could be misremembering that, but plenty of them. That's what I love about John Cena. John Cena goes by John Cena, even though the WWE owns the name John Cena, even though it's his real name. He has to give them a cut of everything he makes.
I know, like, The Rock isn't the best actor on the planet, but he definitely is way better than The Weeknd.
I will say that The Rock had a run back in like the early 2010s of movies like Faster, Empire State, Walking Tall that are actually great movies. It was when he transitioned over to the big budget movies, like the bigger budget movies that like it's,
look, I'm not even saying that to dunk on The Rock. I'm saying I'm dunking on The Weeknd by saying that. It has nothing to do with him.
So should we watch this clip?
Yeah, so this is one of the worst deliveries I have ever heard.
We will not be able to monetize this segment, so feel free to laugh with us.
Yep.
You know, we do this for the love of the game.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up! Shut up! What are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? I have to go right now. I'm getting calls. I have to catch a flight. I'm on a tour. I'm trying to be fucking nice. You see I'm trying to be nice right now, right? You're forcing me to be bad, but I'm actually doing a good thing. All right? So just chill the fuck out, and I gotta go.
Like, who gassed him up?
Shut up!
Who told The Weeknd that he's a talented actor?
Shut up right now.
I'm trying to be nice.
Shut
I'm
up
getting
right
a
now.
phone call. I'm on a tour.
Stuff to do. Yeah. Yeah.
Who gassed him up and told him that this was a good idea?
There's also some like poor editing choices there. I feel like they could have made that scene more dynamic to help with the bad dialogue.
Someone quote tweeted it with this clip that that was his reference. That was what it was inspired by.
Hold on.
This iconic vine.
What the fuck is up, Kyle? No, what did you say, dude? What the fuck, dude? Step the fuck up, Kyle. What?
He studied that for hours.
He like Luke Belmar. He studied.
Performed it in the mirror. Yeah. And then another one said, I always wonder what goes through a real actor's head when they have to do scenes with people like this. And like they cut to Jenna Ortega in that scene, and her eyes are welled up with tears.
I actually know what you're seeing right here is she's like, what did I get myself into?
And yeah, she's probably thinking like, why did I sign up for this?
Okay,
like,
let me try to critique in a way that would have helped him. Like, there are points here where there's dips, there's pauses between the lines where there should have been moments where she's trying to interject and then he cuts her off again.
yeah.
And it sounds like he left those pauses in there for her to interject, and she just gave up because it was such shit. She just didn't even bother to do her job, and they just didn't get the director didn't bother to like give notes and be like, no, you're really like, you're pushing back. You do not agree with him. You're trying to get a word in edgewise, and he won't let you. And she's like, I got nothing to say.
Yeah. Well, he is ultimately to blame for that. You could say that the dialogue isn't great, but he wrote it. He wrote the screenplay. So that's his fault too.
Somebody points out, thank you, Sonic Hero. No, I'm sorry, it wasn't Sonic Hero. Somebody said The Weeknd is actually very soft-spoken, so maybe the problem is he's not writing to his own strengths. Maybe he needs to write a character in a more soft-spoken manner.
Okay, now I feel compelled to find the worst scene from The Idol, if I can.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that's not what he's actually like in the real world. He keeps writing against his type.
No, there's a scene in The Idol that was absolutely awful where he is confronting this other character and trying to seem intimidating, but it just doesn't land at all.
Okay.
Where is it?
Got it?
No,
Nah,
I'm
it's
still
okay.
looking for it.
It's okay.
No, but in that scene, he's like, he is soft-spoken. He is whispering in that scene.
Maybe he shouldn't try and be.
And
maybe he
it
should
still
be,
doesn't work because he's just not a good actor.
Then
like,
maybe
it's
he
not
needs
that
to
complicated.
Stop playing bad guys and start playing soft-spoken good guys. I'm trying to help him out.
No, but he's like, he needs to be the villain because he thinks that's the cool role. You know,
I do think
he can't be a good guy.
I'm with Joe T. I think the sound editors are also not doing him any favors in this. I feel like there could have been more dynamic editing. There could have been ways around this.
I'm still trying to find it.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know if we.
Oh yeah.
Got it. All right, here we go. Send it to me.
So he goes up to this guy, this like sales associate at
Oh, if you're wondering who he is, some people, yes, he is a well-known rap and R&B artist. He's very, very successful.
It's probably one of the biggest male artists, just period.
Let me catch you looking at her again. Let me catch you looking at her again.
I'm not.
Let me catch you looking at her again.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure.
Fucking catch you looking at her again. I'll fucking drag you down Rodeo while your fucking ass just fucking stomp you. I'll fucking curb stomp you.
I'm sorry.
I'll fucking curb stomp you.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure what you were interpreting, but
let me see
I wasn't doing anything.
Let me see it.
So yeah, that is just as bad, if not worse. Yeah. And he wasn't yelling in that clip. He was whispering and trying to seem scary and bad, but it just doesn't land.
Should have been a little bit of inflection on the "I will fucking curb stomp you."
They've given him a new nickname, Unable.
Oh no! I mean,
yeah.
At least they didn't call him disabled.
No. I think that he just should stick to singing. Once again, we end up in this situation where, you know, a musician can't just accept that they're talented at one thing.
Yep.
Most people don't have any talent. Be happy with the fact that you're talented at music. Stop trying to make yourself an actor and an author and an activist and all these other things. Just do what you're good at. And, you know, I also have a little bit of a hot take here. I don't think that music should have lore. I hate when music has lore and a story and a character.
You mean like Taylor Swift's music has lore?
Yes, like I hate that. But even that isn't really what I'm talking about. I mean like the way that Coheed and Cambria has a comic book that and the music is like connected to the story in the comic book series. Lame. I just listened to the music. I didn't know that they had a comic book series until very recently. I actually learned also that Mark Wahlberg bought the rights to it so that he could make it into a movie, which never happened.
Yeah.
But they have another example of that. And then Sleep Token, which I know everyone's going to get mad because they're like popular right now, but they have lore. Did you know about their lore?
I thought it was that they don't want to explain it. I thought that was the whole point.
Well, they haven't explained it because they're stupid, but there is lore. So like Sleep Token, it's all about their worship for this god of sleep.
The god of sleep, yeah.
Who has a name, but it's not utterable with just the human tongue. And every song from Sleep Token is a token of worship for the sleep god. I have never found something so cringy in my life. So here, The Weeknd is trying to do the same exact thing, where he's made this movie about a fictionalized version of him, and I don't know, like going to a sleep paralysis dimension. I don't know what any of that means, but it's a companion piece to his new album, right? Stupid, cringe, hate it, lame, no one likes the lore, no one wants the lore, just make the music, that's what you're good at, stop trying to make it deeper than it is. I hate when music has lore. Anyway, over.
I have no opinions on music with lore. Inherently, I'm not.
It's so Reddit.
Inherently, I'm not a fan of anything like Marvel requiring homework to watch the movies now. But in general,
imagine if you were listening to an album that requires homework.
Purely from a business standpoint, if the whole objective is to get people more invested emotionally in your work, making lore that connects to your work as an artist will benefit you financially because it will drag people deeper into the material than if you just make music. Like what you're describing works well for pop artists, but if you're looking to build a fan base that's going to rapidly consume everything you make, connecting it and creating lore around it is actually a fantastic business decision.
Look, I know that. It's about monetizing everything. I get it. But they try to frame it like it's actually really deep and meaningful and artistic, bro. Like, no. Just call it a cash grab because that's what it is. And it's the epitome of Reddit Easter egg hunting. It's such Reddit cringe.
But that ends up falling into the trap of
21 Pilots does it too.
Then you end up falling into the trap that it's only deep or emotionally resonant if you're broke. And
okay, that's not what I meant. I just mean if you're saying they're doing it because it's a smart business move, well, then they're not doing it because it's deep.
That's my pragmatic approach to it. I'm not an artist, so it's like they're like
partly both, which is fine. It's fine. I don't have anything against you monetizing your art. I just have something
not the
against,
way she wants.
I just have something against your art being cringe.
Okay.
And yeah, making a movie about yourself and releasing it as a companion piece to your album is incredibly cringe and narcissistic. And he just really thought that he was gonna put this movie out and it was just going to blow up and like everyone was gonna love it and they would be obsessed with it and he's such a good actor. How did we not know? No, you look like a clown. You're not good at this. Just stick to what you're good at.
Not everybody
Keep it simple, stupid.
Not everybody can be Exhibit, who ended up being a pretty good actor.
It's one of my favorite acronyms. KISS. Keep it simple, stupid.
All right. Me and Mary may disagree a little bit on the last part there. Not about the cringe part from him, but in general. Let's finish these super chats then.
Yes. Yurishima Otaru said 3 years old, 1 more year, and you can eat corn nuts. What is a corn nut?
Really? You never had corn nuts?
No.
It's a food. It's a snack.
I guess 4 years old is the minimum age to eat corn nuts.
Probably. You should. It felt like I was a reference that I'm missing out on.
Babies have learned to walk in the existence of this show.
That is true.
Many. Pop Culture Junkie said, my marketing brain is curious to know if you think you're getting new PCC members from people watching you on IRL. Yeah, well, I mean, that is partly the intention of us doing appearances on IRL and shouting out the show. Yep. And hopefully it's working.
Yep.
It's hard to tell, though, sometimes. Samir Navarre said, are you all going to talk about the Ben & Jerry co-founder interrupting RFK in Congress yesterday?
Look, if I had to talk about anything that was like quasi-political on this show, we would be talking about the potential citizenship reality show where a bunch of people compete to win U.S. citizenship. That's what I would talk about. There's a meme that's been going around for several years now where they say, what if we had illegal immigrants hunt down pedophiles, and they'll name the show Alien vs. Predator. See, there you go.
I didn't hear about the Ben & Jerry's incident.
I mean, Ben & Jerry's was like a company founded on like lame activism.
And it's sad because the ice cream is just so good. Someone in the chat said, I take it Mary doesn't like the gorillas. You would be correct. Yes, I've actually said that on the show before. I mean, I hate it. It's like the shtick of your band is that they don't exist. Mm-hmm. Okay. Like, why is that cool? Why is that interesting? I don't get it. I just don't. It pisses me off. I don't know why. It just makes me angry.
It does make you angry.
The appeal of the gorillas is that the band members aren't real. Like, okay, what next?
Do You Wish That You Loved Me was still a great song by Sleep Token, and you should listen to it. It's fantastic.
I went and listened to Sleep Token because so many people have been telling me to listen to Sleep Token, and
I mean, there's certain songs.
It's coworker music.
There's certain songs that sound like
it's actually coworker music because you're my coworker.
Yeah.
And you like it.
I'm okay with that though. There's worse coworker music.
Don't hate me.
There's
It's like the new Imagine Dragons.
They've been around for.
Why can't I like anything?
You don't.
Like
like
what's
anything.
wrong with me? Can we just make this into a therapy session?
Eventually you'll have to. Maybe it's fear of cringe. Maybe you're worried that if you like something, somebody will tell you that you're cringe because you like it.
Look, if I liked Sleep Token, I would listen to it. You know, I wouldn't care. I don't have guilty pleasure music. I would be open about that. It's just not. It's not for me. Shane H. Wilder said, I'm for people coming to PCC from IRL as long as the chat remains a wholesome chungus, because everyone knows IRL chat is a cesspool of degeneracy. Yeah, we don't really get chats that are like, Brett Shaftcam. Like, we don't get that type of thing, thankfully. I'd like to keep it that way.
And very, very little about the USS Liberty.
Well, up until recently, yeah. Thanks, Weary Traveler. Actually, we have a next one from Weary Traveler. They spent the 48 hours trying on different pairs of Sean Johns about Diddy and Justin.
I hope not. I really hope that's not what happened.
We have a 20 from Morgan Xavier. Last week, I chatted about my hubby faking being blind on the bus across Canada for a free bus ticket. Forgot how his twin tried to wrestle the cane from him halfway because he thought he could do better. They are not identical. Well, how
sounds like a gag from a show.
I like that.
I love it.
I want to see that happen in person. That's awesome. Weary Traveler said, Mary is bigoted towards those who wear glasses. Shame! I am not. I am actually visually impaired myself. I just wear contacts.
I can't touch my eye. Can't do that.
I thought the same. I did. But I actually got used to it.
I haven't tried since like 7th grade.
You should try again.
Maybe I could do it again.
The first time I tried to get used to contacts, I cried and I gave up.
Yeah.
And then the second time was right before moving here for this job, because I was like, I can't just be like wearing my glasses on camera. I feel embarrassed.
Yeah, I know, right?
Personally, that's my personal taste. And I learned to do it back when I had really long acrylic nails, like inch-long acrylic nails. I just used the flat part of my finger.
To put...
I impressed myself.
Ow! Like you're like hitting your eyebrow with your nail?
No, it was fine. It ended up being fine. So I don't know. I just overcame it. Some random guy said, I honestly love your channel. Intelligent and based. Child actors never end well, it seems. Some of them do.
I don't know. Millie Bobby Brown just got married.
Some of them end up okay. Like, yeah, Millie Bobby Brown seems to be fine. Who else?
I don't know.
I feel like the Sprouse twins ended up being fine. They never went through any weird.
I mean, Macaulay Culkin seems to be fairly well adjusted now. He got married. He's
okay.
I didn't say nothing happened to him.
What if you were always fine, like those ones? Which ones were like always totally normal? Like Miranda Cosgrove. She's another example.
Hilary Duff.
Hilary Duff. Yeah.
The ones who probably ended up fine, you've just never heard of. Because they weren't big enough to matter later, and they just moved on. And
Frankie Muniz seems to he turned out fine.
He's racing professionally now.
Yeah.
I saw him sitting next to Camelot at a autograph signing.
Big super chat from
Guitarist
Gabe. Thank you for the 50. What a lame take. Sleep Token is a band telling a story in their music and has been since their first album. None of the lore is needed to enjoy the music. If you don't like it, that's fine, but don't diss on those who dig it. Stick with Blood on the Dance Floor, I guess.
I think what she said was I think that she said that it's lame in her opinion, and if you like it, that's fine.
I literally didn't say that if you like Sleep Token, I hate you.
Calling it coworker music is a bit of a backhanded insult. It's meant to be. It's taken that way.
Well, it is. So.
Okay.
Look, I'm not. I literally don't have a problem with it. If you like Sleep Token,
I love the insult of coworker music, but the problem is literally everything can be coworker music unless you're going to fall down into the void of like, here's this obscure band from like 1982 that you've never heard of.
You know it when you hear it. Benson Boone is coworker music.
Okay, but then that's impossible because that's not even genre specific. Like it could be literally anything.
You just
like
you know
when I think of coworker music, I think of certain types of rap. I think of
really
like,
Drake for sure. Coworker music.
Even that's too mainstream to be coworker music.
That's the point, though.
Again, we're in like an obscure, like I think of it as like a coworker who thinks he's found this obscure
I
band.
see.
That's not like somebody, like a guy I used to work with is like, oh, you got to listen to Joyner Lucas. And I'm
Okay,
like,
look.
ugh.
But isn't Sleep Token for people who kind of, they think that it's like more indie than it is?
Maybe. I mean, maybe. I don't know.
That, from what I can tell. Same thing with Coheed and Cambria. I listened to Coheed and Cambria. I like their music. And I had no idea there was a companion comic book series until days ago. And when I found out about that, I thought it was cringe. But I'm not going to stop listening to the band because of that. There's nothing wrong with listening to the music or whatever. You're taking offense and, you know, you don't need to. You're picking up trouble where it doesn't exist. And yes, I do listen to Blood on the Dance Floor, and I don't care who knows it. I love Blood on the Dance Floor.
Somebody in the chat mentioned Modest Mouse, and I said yesterday, I said I was in the store yesterday, and Float On came on, and my millennial spirit transcended to levels.
Good song.
Here's the thing: I don't even really like that song that much, but as a millennial, you transcend to a higher plane when that song comes on. Objectively, Dramamine is a better song, but when Float On comes on, as a millennial, you look like your pants become skinny jeans, your belt becomes a studded belt. You don't even put it on. It's just there.
What about
you get a Devil's Lock haircut.
You know,
and you're
MGMT. Yeah, great stuff.
Yeah.
Passion Pit. Great stuff.
Sleepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sleepyhead by Passion Pit. Take a Walk by Passion Pit. Listomania.
Yeah. What was
All
it?
bangers.
So the thing is, like, Listomania, those are songs that were played during the...
Oh, Group Love.
So Listomania and all songs like it are what were played during the establishing shots of USA Network shows back in the early 2010s.
I love that. That's such a vibe.
Every helicopter establishing shot of the Hamptons was Listomania playing over it.
Crystal Castles.
Which means that it was some 30-something sound music department person at the studio who picked that song.
Oh, I got the artist wrong. I think that
it's Phoenix.
Yeah, Phoenix. Yorishima Otaru said OF already has clones. It will just be replaced. Yeah, there's like Fansly and Hoob and
all of the
knockoffs.
WWE women that, like, once they left WWE went to OnlyFans, went to Fansly, I believe. Olivia in the chat says,
what?
Brett, I'm sorry for the amount of Joann's I'm getting. So Joann Fabrics is going out of business, which means that oh no.
Well, it's a deal.
Like you're
actually saving money.
It's
that's girl math.
Yeah, it's definitely girl. It's definitely girl math.
AI Shih Tzu said, Anita Sarkeesian, everything is racist, everything is sexist, and you have to point it all out. Mary Morgan, cool. Can I get a copy of that list? IRL. Wait, what?
Of everything that's racist and everything that's sexist.
Oh, so that I can make sure I stan? Kenny Ramey said, Mary, I enjoyed the conversation you had about angels on IRL. I would like to see you two do a deep dive on a Friday morning episode. Here's the thing, though. I'm not informed on the topic at all enough to even substantively disagree with him about anything he's saying. It just sounds like bullshit to me by my gut instinct. Like, I was operating off of just intuition last night. There's no... I don't have a clap back. I don't have a counter argument. It just sounded like BS to me. Shane
Young
H. Wilder,
Folks by Peter, Bjorn, and John. Yes.
I don't know if I... Oh, no, I do remember that one. Yeah, that was in Gossip Girl. Yeah. I think that's why. Shane H. Wilder said, if Quitter does shut down OF, we need to throw a party. Then Mary can stop her OF horror stories manifesto, as there will be no need to document them. That would be a relief, wouldn't it? But unlikely.
What was the song about the school shooter that was really big? That was I forget it.
Oof.
You know
Was
what I'm
that yes. Oh my gosh, what was it? Thank you. Something Kicks.
Oh, Pumped Up Kicks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I have a whole playlist on my Spotify that's just dedicated to all of this, like, early 2010s millennial music. It's amazing.
I mean, that was good stuff.
Yeah, it was.
That was good stuff.
Hiroshima Otaru said quitter charges sounds like a scam.
Hey!
Well, I don't think it's a scam just because they charge for what they've created, you know. AI Shih Tzu said it's been 24 years since the first Fast and the Furious came out. Is it too early to ask for a remake, possibly starring Zendaya?
You should be banned. Who did this? I'm banning them.
Absolutely not.
There will be no... and you're gonna... What is she supposed to be, Letty?
Oh, and Pedro Pascal.
Is she supposed to be Letty? Is she supposed to be the sister? No! She's no Michelle Rodriguez or Jordana Brewster. Hell no. Miss me with that nonsense.
Shane H. Wilder said, so OF is a family business? Gross. Weird. Yeah, imagine starting a porn company with your brother and your dad. Like, that's just super creepy. Pop Culture Junkie said, Leo Ravinsky... Oh, I already read that one. Weary Traveler said, I will never understand suburbs hate. Yeah, I always loved living in the suburbs. Never understood why people had such a hard-on for hating the suburbs and like all the houses look the same. And yeah, like,
that was Hollywood pseudo-intellectualism from the get-go, and it never made any sense to me. Also, I saw that firsthand because I grew up in a middle-class suburb, and I had friends who were from much wealthier families than me, who grew up in bigger, richer suburbs than I, who would then move to the city and just look back at their, idyllic family home with just pure disgust. And it, to be fair, everything's got a story, but I'm just like, wow, just too many rooms in that house, huh? Just that walk from the basement up to the top floor was just so grinding that it just made life so difficult for you.
Yeah. Well, I say the elite isn't just suburbs, but historic downtown areas. Definitely.
Olivia says, Brett talks shit and I'm still here, so he's encouraged me to get more.
There was no shit talk.
I did nothing of the
Not
sort.
that I
I guess
heard.
the girl math part.
That I brought that up. Blame me.
Yeah.
Blame me. Pete Donovan said, actually, it was Eric Burden and the Animals who sang the words, "We gotta get out of this place," and it was a far better song than that mess. The cringe of the day was not even an original song. They just covered it and messed up
So
the
it's just
lyrics
way
to be
worse.
gay. Weary Traveler said Taylor Swift drinks Diet Coke. Well, if that were true, then her and Trump would be best buddies. I don't think that's true.
I also think of Bastille as a very millennial.
Oh, for sure.
Which I
yes.
love unapologetically.
Yeah.
I love Bastille.
Tons of examples. I mean, the Arctic Monkeys kind of too.
Yeah.
They were in there.
Yeah.
I like the Arctic Monkeys. It's not no hate. Hiroshima Otaru.
LaRue.
Oh yeah.
Bulletproof.
Love that
color.
song.
Yeah, like those were bops.
Mhm.
Like when I was in Spain, like my headphones.
Wait, what year was that?
2010.
I can't even imagine how it was bumping.
But no,
Like-
I had it on my iPod and then heard it
That's
in
crazy.
nightclub
Yeah.
nightclubs there, and it was everywhere.
And now like Gen Z
I think
makes
about that and that-
TikToks about
yeah,
it.
and then I listen to that now, and it like feel like I heard we saw Ellie Goulding live,
That's
like
insane.
before what's it called, blew up.
Before Lights.
Yeah.
Yeah. Incredible. Now Zoomers are just making TikToks saying that they feel homesick for a Spanish nightclub that never existed.
That's so sad. That's so sad.
Hiroshima Otaru said, my knee-jerk reaction was he meant popularity.
That's for Trump.
I don't know. Pop Culture Junkie said, I've seen some research that says celebrity endorsements actually hurt the Democrats among certain demographics and income groups. Not what I expected. Yeah, it would have been different years ago, but their trust has eroded. Sorenko Productions said, if Taylor Swift is actually a demon from Moloch, I'll have y'all know that you heard it here first. Now that's a callback for PCC 3rd anniversary, LOL. Yeah, well, when you were gone, actually, we talked about a conspiracy theory that she is the daughter of the former high priestess of the Church of Satan.
We've had that discussion here. What's her name?
Zena LeVay.
Zena LeVay.
Yeah.
Yep.
We delved deeper and it was crazy.
And by the way, when I see the spelling of LeVay, it just looks wrong to me. It's like it's like literally like Levay or something like that. I was like, shouldn't it be EH or EIGH or something like that? That's what I think of when I saw her name.
Know. Shane H. Wilder said, the right has an issue with making all culture and entertainment political. If we could just make good things without turning it political all the time. That is the ideal, but it seems like no one on the left or the right is capable of that anymore in our climate. Corey Anderson said, Mary, it is sundress season. How do you plan to celebrate? Also, remember, current med students are using ChatGPT to pass their classes. I'd never seen that before, but it makes perfect sense. I don't. But sundress season, I plan to wear sundresses.
I mean, you don't ever wear like regular jeans anyways, so.
I don't like wear pants. Yeah. I only wear dresses and skirts, so I'm already here. It's been sundress season for me.
Y'all are just playing catch up apparently.
Weary Traveler said the whole point of the angel discussion was that whatever Christians don't understand, that means it's automatically demonic per usual. That's not really what we were even arguing about. He was actually pointing to scripture and saying that it means something it doesn't. So if we're talking about scripture, I'm just telling him what Christians actually believe about scripture and correcting the record on that. But I do think that there is something weird about people's willingness to fully jump into believing in aliens, but still regarding all religion and theism with this like skeptical mentality.
Yeah.
Because believing in aliens doesn't mean that, you're not allowed to jerk off anymore. That's pretty much all it comes down to, is that religion makes demands on you and your behavior, but the idea that aliens are going to come down one day and reveal themselves and take over the earth, it's more of like a fantasy about losing control and, surrendering to the actual sky gods.
Zed, clarity.
That was a good one. That was a banger. Stay the Night.
So
with,
many.
Haley Williams.
So many.
20 from some random guy. Get yourselves a pizza. World is stupid.
I'm so hungry right now.
That makes me want to.
Though I'm not crashing out as bad as I have on some. I think there's only been 1 or 2 times where I've like crashed out so hard I've literally gone off camera to like eat beef jerky so that I don't die.
All right. Rapscallion said Randy Marsh is indeed random.
Lord. It was like a South Park bit.
16-bit mascot said, thanks guys for always doing a good show. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hiroshima Otaru said, Brett, there are already many transracial people. Certainly not as many as there are people who identify as different like genders.
One of the arguments that people always have is like the idea of being your race being transracial actually has a little bit more like nuance to it, given the fact that there are mixed race couples and children.
Or that we have common ancestry.
Yes.
Like, there is actually more of a scientific basis that you could conjure up for that.
But feel free to be, like, a person who just goes and is just like, I'm not this, I'm that, and see what happens, and see if anybody doesn't look at you like you're nuts. The local Wendigo says, this is a Rumble rant, says, isn't the Blood on the Dance Floor band members pedos? Is that true?
So, one of them, I looked into it, and he is allegedly a PDF file. True.
Who is the one? Oh, there was a member of the band, the New Pornographers, who was caught with child pornography recently.
That was recent, yeah.
Yep.
Well, the Blood on the Dance Floor stuff, that's been out there for a long time. I listened to it on SoundCloud because they banned them from Spotify once that came out. But that doesn't mean that I can't enjoy the music. It's good music.
Down by Jay Sean. 2009.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
That was maybe the last great pop R&B song, in my personal opinion. Also, Lil Wayne wears a communist shirt in that music video.
Some random guy sent us $5 Australian. No message. Thank you.
Thank you.
Charles S. said, Brett spoke aloud about that which we do not speak.
That was in reference to the Pamela Anderson and 13-year-old boys with Napster and Kazaa.
That which we do not speak
Apparently.
is her sex tape. Shane H. Wilder said purity and a sex tape should never be in the same sentence. Yeah, agree. Red Snow said, why not both? Phil is a man and a Swiftie. Yeah, I guess a Swiftie could be male, but I don't think I would trust a male Swiftie as much as any random guy. Greg Duvier said, Phil is a Swiftie. He could get you out of the woods. Nah, Phil would just leave me behind. He'd probably go fend for himself.
Every man for himself. He's like, I don't have to run faster than the bear. I just have to run faster than you.
Yeah. Shane H. Wilder said, I will not waste any of my weekend watching a movie starring The Weeknd. Stick to music, my dude.
Fair enough.
Smart choice. DC&C said, Lorde thinking she knows what it's like to be a man is about as likely as me knowing what it's like to be a dog. The male brain bathes in fluid that has 15 times the level of testosterone as females.
And then you know what?
Yeah.
Who shows up? Shania Twain singing Man, I Feel Like a Woman. And it's the meme of the crying, well, angry emoji. She's like, man, I feel like a woman.
Here's the crazy, messed up part. Lorde has talked about having PCOS. And if you have PCOS, your naturally occurring testosterone as a woman doesn't convert the way that it ought to into estrogen in the body. So she actually has more testosterone than most women. So maybe there's something to it. Matt Kelly said Tommy Wiseau could give The Weeknd acting notes. I mean, he was even worse than Tommy Wiseau. Shane H. Wilder said this is giving The Room a run for its money. He just needs to say, oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Hiroshima Otaru said The Weeknd, more like the Wednesday.
I wonder if that's ever like an insult that somebody's hurled at him. They're like, you're not a weekend. You're not even a freaking Wednesday. You're a Tuesday night at best.
Red Snow said, I thought Sleep Token was the next big meme coin.
That's could be.
If it's not already, yeah. Morgan Xavier said, if a trans person feels like their inner self doesn't match their body, I would ask when they consider the inner self forms. Because if they are pro-abortion, then they need to reconsider how they view personhood. The thing is, if you ask them that question, they would just kind of devolve into a puddle of tears and screaming. They cannot be reasoned with.
Yeah.
But that would be nice, wouldn't it? Greg Duvier said, so he stole the idea from Ghost. The Weeknd? I don't know what that was referring to.
Ghost, the movie,
guy?
or like Ghost, the character from Power?
Don't know. Some random guy said, I like Slightly Angry Mary. Thanks. Weary Traveler said, Mary just hates fun. Fine.
Do you feel that way sometimes?
If you think I hate fun,
we should make
then
a shirt.
fine. I hate fun.
We should make a shirt that says I hate fun.
I mean, yeah, I would wear that.
Yeah.
And everything I don't like is a psyop.
Yep.
Simple as. Shane H. Wilder said they're trying to bring concept albums, not really realizing that songs on those albums can live on their own.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that it's just a poor attempt at being deep. Omega Red Fan said, you can still like a band, but not like all their albums. Lore shouldn't be required. Agree. Yeah, it's just super cringy Easter egg hunting. Red Snow said that Alien versus Predator joke is godlike.
Yeah, like it's just one of those ones you see reposted. You know what the worst thing in the world is? It's one of my biggest pet peeves on the internet is when they take just random quotes and they attribute it to a celebrity and make like a tweet about it from a celebrity that never said that.
Like what? There's one from Lana Del Rey about feminism. I think
there's a couple of them. I off the top of my head. There's
one.
that
there was like a whole thing with Taylor Swift where they just replaced Hitler, and they were spreading all of these images where it's like a quote from Hitler, and it just says that Taylor Swift said it.
Okay, there you go.
And people actually believed it.
There's one about there's one that they always, and it probably was from him, but it gets reposted all the time, of like Tom Hardy talking about not going out and hanging out with people and just stays at home and eats snacks, and they repost, and it gets reposted all the time, and I'm like, ugh. Even if he actually said that, I hate it.
I hate whoever said that. Pete Donovan said, spoken in a super soft voice, for just the cost of a crisis party, you too can help save the Gongo. Will you help save the Gongo?
You can do it.
Please.
You can save the Congo.
Joe T said, I love your guys' hot takes on snacks. Here's another. Better cheddars are actually better than Cheez-Its.
110%.
I don't even know what that is.
Not even controversial. 110%.
What is a better
It's you know what a Cheez-It is, right? It's like a round,
Yes.
thinner version of that. And infinitely better. Like 10,000%.
Is this a Midwest thing?
No, I don't think
I've
so. We
never
got them
come
out here.
across this before.
I did see that Matt Walsh was getting into it with people about Arby's online recently.
Arby's is disgusting. Just for the record.
I mean, he's giving you grade A bait by talking about it. Even if he agrees with it, he's doing it. I mean, I don't hate Arby's either. I personally, I don't know if I'd call myself an Arby's stan, but I'll eat there if for some reason there was
Why
another
would you end up at an Arby's?
Okay, so every time me and Olivia are driving back from Detroit, we go, you stop at the rest stops along the way, and there's like an Arby's, and I always almost go. I go like this, I go,
They have this sign out front that says the fish is back. I don't even want to know what that means.
No. Arby's hate is one of those things that's become like like an online meme in the same way that like hating on Nickelback exists. Like, oh, I hate Arby's. Like, bro,
look, I would hate.
You're a meme. We get it. You're a slave to online trends. We get it. You don't have an opinion of your own.
I would hate on Arby's. I would hate on Burger King. I would hate on Long John Silver's. I love fast food, and I mean that. Like, it's my life force.
Yeah.
I love fast food, and I don't act like an elitist about it. But those chains, they just ain't it. Like,
I don't eat Long John Silver's because I don't eat any type of seafood or food from the ocean or fish or anything. So
you should work on changing that, but
no,
I'm sure that you never will.
Set in my ways.
Greg Duvier said, "Is all that remains coworker music?" No.
Technically, it is because we have a coworker.
Well, okay, for us, it's coworker music. For everybody else, no, it's not coworker music. Because it's not like, Imagine Dragons or whatever. Pop Culture Junkie said, "What is the definition of coworker music?"
Do you have a definition?
The definition of coworker music is that you know it when you hear it.
There you go.
And I think that something can even start out not being coworker music and become coworker music over time. Like, okay, you know what? I honestly think Billie Eilish is coworker music. 21 Pilots became coworker music. Definitely. What else?
Imagine Dragons. You said Imagine Dragons.
Probably anything that Machine Gun Kelly is putting out these days is also coworker music. If it has some facade of being edgy or alternative when it's completely corporate slop, it's coworker music. That's basically it. Reawakened Freedom said, "I love IRL, but Tim pisses me off thinking he's always right, which he is not. Plus, I never miss an episode with Mary on it. She tells him how it is." A lot of people say that. Like, they say that I, disagree with Tim more than everybody else. But I don't even really sense myself clapping back at him that often. I just say what I think.
The general idea here is that if you're going to reach Tim's level of success, you're going to have a lot of confidence in what you believe.
Sure.
It goes with the territory, and having an opinion and vocalizing an opinion and consistently defending that opinion are not the same thing.
Who doesn't think they're right all the time? Literally everyone thinks that they're right.
No, I pretty consistently am like, but what do I know? I don't know.
I do think that makes you the exception. Most people have opinions and they think that their opinions are correct because why else would they have them?
I mean, maybe I would think that way more in my private life, whereas here it feels like it's more of like a bookend, like for open discussion about whatever we're talking about. Because most of the time, what I don't want is to be like I'm diehard a believer in this. I'm not talking about opinions like fast food restaurants, but like whatever some topic we're talking about, right? And then somebody's like, I saw somebody earlier who said, I forget who it was. I think it was Ali Milan said, "I'm behind on the episode, but Brett and Mary are 100% wrong about Diddy." Now, I don't know what that is in reference to, but
about Justin Bieber, I guess.
About that story. Like, again, I don't know what that means, but I'd like to think that most of the time on this show, I take a pretty open-ended approach because I don't know whether I'm right about it. And most of the time we're going along with the story and reacting to whatever the news is. and then whatever your opinion is, like, maybe it's true, maybe it isn't, because that's the crux of doing a show like this, is you're relaying news bits. It's secondhand information. You were never there. You're never going to know for sure whether it's true or not. You can only kind of give your own smell test to what you think is accurate and what you think isn't, based on your own version of what your common sense is, and go from there. Like, there's very few things that I'm going to, like, die hard, like things that I would die on the hill of. But most people in this space, if you want to be successful, you have to die on every hill.
Here is my hot take about Diddy that everyone is going to hate. He should go to jail for having consensual orgies. End of discussion. Pete Donovan said PCC game show idea, the shirts against the blouses. What?
I like the citizenship game show.
Confused.
I can't wait for people to see. I think
it's not going to actually be a real thing.
What I think is actually going to happen is it'll be kind of like if you go on Judge Judy, they pay you more to be on than what it would cost you if you actually won the lawsuit, so both sides win. Maybe everyone gets a green card, but only one person gets citizenship. So like, here, you be on the show, you get a green card for, I don't know, how long does the average green card last for? A couple of years? A year? 30, 100 days? I don't know. Here, everyone gets a green card because technically they'd have to get a green card to be working in the country to do the challenges anyways. So everybody gets a green card and a path to citizenship, but one person just gets the golden Willy Wonka ticket of actual citizenship. But you give them the path to citizenship and you turn it into some type of celebration that's actually good for public relations.
Is this getting paid for by tax money?
I mean, no, it shouldn't be being paid for by tax money, but
if it is a real thing, it will be.
Yeah.
Red Snow said, saw Coheed and Cambria live. Hella lame. I saw them live. I didn't think it was hella lame, but I also didn't know about the comic book series at the time, so. Weary Traveler said, this is a pro Crystal Castles chat.
I did see people in the...
Yeah, they had some good songs. Shane H. Wilder said, Belle and Sebastian is coworker music. I haven't even heard of that.
I never listened to them.
Have you heard of them?
It sounds familiar.
Red Snow said, is mayonnaise coworker music?
Mayonnaise is coworker food for sure.
Yeah, I guess. Bookstore Thor said Pete Yorn did a great album with ScarJo.
I just saw I just saw some post on X today that says 17 years ago Scarlett Johansson released her debut album. I was like, what?
Since when?
Since when?
That's crazy. TX Goliath said Surrounded by Silence, song by Design the Skyline. Haven't heard of it.
Now they're trying. I feel like now they're going to turn it into like, listen to my obscure music. This isn't coworker music.
Shane H. Wilder said, every time I hear the Book of Enoch, I know it's going to be someone waxing about their weird SX fanfic? Sex fanfic?
Okay.
Yikes. I mean, it does sound that way, doesn't it? Like people writing weird erotica about alien sex with humans.
Bro, I don't even know what it is.
I don't like it. Dingus Khan said, why are so many people obsessed with the Book of Enoch? It's not even canon. Yeah, interesting that they're like obsessed with it because they're using it to, fit their own ends and support their arguments, which have no evidence. Weary Traveler said, Bedrock by Young Money, Telephone by Lady Gaga, and All the Right Moves by One Republic, all bangers. I don't know the first one, but the other two definitely.
Bedrock by Young Money, absolutely.
Wait, no, I do know that one. I forgot it, but yeah.
Also,
but these aren't like indie things. These were just like top 40s.
Well, yeah. So, no, that was more the discussion about like music from the time period, right?
Arsenal Man said The Weeknd, more like Monday morning.
Yep.
Greg Duvier said The Weeknd stole the idea from the band Ghost with lore behind every album. Well, I don't think that one particular band invented the idea of having lore behind every album, but like it's becoming more popular and I need the trend to die.
I Made It by Kevin Rudolph, Young Money, and Jay Sean.
I don't remember that
one. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Red Snow said, I can't super chat that I hate fun. Why? They're censoring you? BK is trash and Arby's is good. Be better, Mary.
Both of them are good. Both of them are good.
No, both of them are trash. Elite fast food is Taco Bell, and everyone knows that. Shane H. Wilder said Long John Silver's is just a deep fried kitchen sponge. I tried it once. I was very disappointed. And I don't have high standards for food. But if the only things you sell are fried fish and fries, the fries should be good.
Yeah.
The fries sucked.
Yeah.
So, never again. Pop Culture Junkie said, so coworker music is like dressing up a pig in a tuxedo. It's still a pig. I don't know if that's the best metaphor. It's just some like your coworker thinks that they're putting you on when you already know about
That's
it and you don't
why I
like it.
say like Joyner Lucas or some band that they think is unique and
like Joyce Manor.
I think now in right-wing circles, Tom McDonald would be considered coworker music.
Ooh, yeah. Definitely.
Like, because you'd show it to a coworker because, you know.
Yeah, agree. Shane H. Wilder said that wasn't a hot take on Diddy. Not between us, Shane, but for most people, they would have some trouble accepting that. DCNC said WTF is this leaderboard shit. Have a great weekend. Well, if you super chat and if you participate in the chat, you're gonna go up in XP on the leaderboard. I don't know what
I still have
means.
no idea how it works.
It just gives you points for chatting us.
Okay.
That's all it really means. Not that John Stewart said hostage party. Happy Friday/weekend. I don't know if we're in a hostage party.
Yeah, I mean, it's 5:14, so we're definitely in a hostage party.
Red Snow said the hostages must party. Dance, you fools. Are we due for one? We're almost at a fifth, but we're not at a fifth crisis party yet.
See, people are mistaking what I'm saying. He says, no, Tom McDonald is awesome. No, what I'm saying is that it's an artist who, while underground, now you would show to a coworker because you wouldn't think that they know who the artist is.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say, and I'm only saying this because Tom McDonald is not the type of person who would care. I don't think that Tom McDonald's music is, like, awesome. I don't. I think it's kind of one note.
I've always enjoyed his non-political music more than the political music.
Guy who's a hipster about Tom McDonald's discography.
Except for No Lives Matter. I really, really like No Lives Matter.
Sad Laughter sent us $1 without a message. Thank you.
Thank you.
Pop Culture Junkie was the next one, I believe. Long John Silver's, where the fish taste like chicken and the chicken tastes like fish because they fry them in the same machine. Yikes. Shane H. Wilder said, you're not missing anything with Belle and Sebastian. They are music for hipsters looking for their manic pixie dream girl. Lame.
I did see recently that the Civil Wars are getting back together.
The Civil Wars? I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
DCNC said $2 ticket to the party. You're
Thank you.
invited. Red Snow said, I'm tired of sponsoring these monkey fighting parties on this Monday to Friday podcast. I don't know what that means. Yeah, I have no idea.
These
High
mother
Voltage
effing
75
snakes on this mother effing plane.
High Voltage 75 said, what does the fox say? That was a sleeper hit, for sure. Who was that?
I don't even know the name of the...
I only remember the music video.
Yeah.
I don't know why it hit so much.
Very, very of its time.
It was
as
like
far as
so random.
it was LOL so random taken to the
Ring,
extreme.
ding, ding. Not that John Stewart said, oh sure, let's start keeping track after I do a $400 super chat. Yeah, shady of YouTube to implement this now.
Yeah.
Pete Donovan said, Arctic Monkeys or Last Shadow Puppets, both rock.
I guess I would choose Arctic Monkeys.
I would too, but I have not heard Last Shadow Puppets. I don't know what that is.
And then there was, I think I saw a couple more.
Rants.
Yeah, do you see that one? I don't know what that's.
John Hansen said, the tree thirsts.
Does that mean something? And the local Wendigo says, I have Diddy.
Oh, don't say that. Don't say that. I don't think we can say stuff like that on YouTube.
Like, even if I'm reading a quote?
Yeah, I don't want to get in trouble. I know it's like...
The algorithm catches me and is like, you're in trouble now. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Greg Duvier said, No Lives Matter is Tom's best song.
Yeah, I would agree. That's my personal opinion.
Feels good to
And
make
Church was a very good song. So
I think we're all caught up
All right.
now.
All right, guys, before we go, hit the like button on this video as always and subscribe to this channel. If you are new here, you should subscribe on both YouTube and on Rumble. You should subscribe on both of them. And make sure to hit the notification bell on all of them so that you can be notified every time a new live stream goes live and every time a new segment goes up. There's one more super chat there.
DCNC said regarding Gorilla's hate, Daft Punk are robots. If you hate them, you can go do one. That is the most British thing I've ever read. You can go do one. You can go take the piss, mate, if you don't like Daft Punk. Come on now.
All right, Mary, where can they find you?
Send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can go send me some hate on X. That is also Mary Archived.
All right. Guys, if you want to follow me, I am on Instagram and on Twix at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. We are here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is noon Pacific. We are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you would like to listen rather than watch, you can rate and review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. That always helps. And if you want to follow us on social media, we are on Twix at PopCulture_show, Facebook at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Guys, we will be back with another episode on Monday. We will see y'all then.
Bye
Bye everyone.